it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Welcome everybody to Live at the Bicycle Casino. Live at the bike, I'm Denny Williams, along with Bart.
How you doing tonight, Denny?
Good. What we're watching here is part of a tournament. This is not really the final table yet. We actually have 3 tables. There we go. We actually have 3 tables going, and we try and keep them balanced. That's why we're 6-handed here right now. And it looks like players sitting down, so it looks like they probably broke a table. We're down to the final 2 tables. This tournament is part of the Winning of the Green schedule. It's the College Challenge for Charity tournament. It was a $50 buy-in, a $10 entry fee, and there were $50 rebuys during the first hour. Now, this was open to all college students, also alumni. So, some of the older guys are here playing, too.
I was going to say, you mean seat 5 isn't a college student?
No. He looks more like a professor, huh? Well, maybe not that either. Anyway.
Now, some of the chip stacks that we're looking at, and correct me if I'm wrong, Denny, the yellow chips are $500 chips.
Correct.
The pink chips that you'll see, pink or purple, are $1,000 chips.
That is correct.
And those of you who are familiar with tournament format, right now we're at $2,000 and $4,000 blinds with a $500
Exactly.
ante.
You got it, man.
Right.
You got it.
There's 2 tables.
No, it
2 tables now.
looks like they just broke down the 2 tables, so the players are in the process of moving over here. Some of them, they'll fill those seats. They got to sign a release form first and all that good stuff.
Any word on the amount of players that entered the tournament and rebuys?
Yeah, we had 283 buy-ins, players, and we had 499 rebuys total. Now, the prize pool, which was $39,100, 15% of that is being donated to the Special Olympics charity.
Okay. So we're looking at about a 33,000
and change. First place is over 12,000.
Wow, so we're just talking about some...
We're paying 27 places. We're down to about 18 spots now.
Nice little chunk of change here. And, of course, this is a tournament, so unlike all the other webcasts we've done, these chips have no cash value in them.
Right.
You're going to see a lot of different strategy here.
Exactly. You cannot take these chips to the cage and cash them in.
Right.
They are valuable, but not for cash.
2,000.
That's 4.
And this is a no-limit hold'em tournament, so you're going to see people with big chip stacks use those chips as tools, increasing their chip stacks. And how long are the levels, Denny?
These levels are only 20-minute rounds.
Okay, so these things are going to go up.
They go up pretty fast, yeah. We just started this level about 5 minutes ago, I guess. So,
does it go to 4,000, 8,000, or 3,000, 6,000?
No, it'll go to 3 and 6, and then it'll go to 5 and 10 and 8,
Okay.
16.
Okay. So people with short chip stacks don't really have a lot of time to
Unfortunately not. When it's a $50 buy-in, the levels go pretty fast.
Right.
The bigger the money, the longer the levels.
And for those of you that aren't familiar really with tournaments, when you get up to usually level 5 or level 6, you start to see an ante, which is that right?
Level 6.
Level 6.
Actually, level 7, the ante
Level
comes
7.
into play.
Okay. You start to see an ante, which basically is like if you ever played stud, it's a forced bet. It's not, it's money that's in the pot. Everyone puts that in. And then there are normal blinds.
Right.
So you're stealing a lot. You're not just stealing the blinds. The pot is very, very big before any bets are put in. It just, accelerates the tournament.
Like the ante here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players. 3,500 just in antes alone.
And then the blinds.
Then you need another 6,000 there. So. That's $9,500.
So if you pick up a hand where everyone folds, it's $9,500.
Yeah.
And that's what the key is here in no-limit polo tournaments. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are familiar watching TV, World Poker Tour. And
once again, if you just joined us, this is actually a tournament table. It's not the final table either. We have one other table. We're down to the final 2 tables. Looks like we're probably down to about maybe 16 players or 15 players. I don't know how many are on the other table right now.
Now, we always try to drive into the player's head that position is everything in Texas Hold'em. At these levels in a no-limit Hold'em tournament, position is almost everything, because you rarely will see, when there's maybe 2 or 3 tables left, a lot of play, on the flop or after the flop. It's a lot of pre-flop push-ins, all-ins.
Yeah.
You get to see a lot of the 5 cards out. So, if you're on the button and no one's brought in for a raise, you can basically raise with anything, Denny, because, of course, it's much harder to call with the hand than it is to raise with the hand.
Right, right.
Empty and a big blind.
Not the small bars.
It's been a long day for me. This tournament went till 3 in the morning last night. Come back about 10 in the morning. So if I fall asleep, just nudge me, okay?
Well, it's a very busy time of year for you, Danny. This is the second largest tournament series that we hold here at the bike.
It is. It's the second largest and probably the third longest.
Uh-huh.
What do you think the longest tournament we run is?
Well, I would think it would be Legends, but by the fact that you're asking that question, I'd probably be wrong, right?
You are wrong. The longest tournament we run would be the mini series of poker.
Oh, during the whole World Series of Poker, which, of course, totally mirrors all the games, right?
Yeah.
At a reduced buy-in, a certain percentage of the buy-in. Or something
Right.
like that.
We usually offer buy-ins of 5% of the regular World Series buy-in.
That's a really interesting tournament series because you don't get to play a lot of those games at low-level buy-ins, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, seat 2 has gone all in with ace-queen offsuit, re-raising jack-king offsuit. I love the raise by seat 1, and the re-raise, we're talking about a 5 or 6-handed table here. It's great. It's classic tournament play. It's a little bit tough for king-jack to call because if the guy has an ace, he's ahead. Maybe he's hoping that he has a pocket pair, so it would be a coin flip. And seat 1 is thinking. Seat 2 has gone all in.
He's going to lay it down, the Jack King.
Yeah. And we'll try to really hear the dealer because it's very, very important, especially tonight, to hear how much the bets are, how much people are raising. And
once again, those yellow chips, they're not your normal $5 chips that you're used to seeing. Those are $500 tournament chips.
Right.
And the pink ones there are the $1,000 tournament chips.
And a lot of times, too, even though they're not required to, they don't, people will stack them in stacks of 20. So if you look at a stack, a couple pinks like seat 1 there, that's 20,000 right there. And then he's got another 10,000 if he stacks the yellows that way, too. So, another, another 10,000 with the yellows. So, for example, seat 9 looks like he's got about 30,000 if he has one stack of yellows and one stack of pinks. Now I was going to say, unlike a cash game, an ace offsuit here, ace rag offsuit's a very powerful hand, especially if no one's brought the hand in, and that's exactly what seat 4 is doing. It's got an ace 8 offsuit.
Plus he has the button. That doesn't
absolutely.
hurt.
No one else has brought the hand in. You look down an ace on the button, of course you put pressure on the blinds.
Yeah. Seat 6 there has an ace 9.
That's a 5.
Ace 9
900 on the side.
$900 side pot. Somebody's all in.
Well, it looks like seat 6 was all in from his blind.
Seat 8 is all in.
Oh, excuse me, seat 8. Okay.
He's got the Jack 8.
And seat 6 and the button both flop.
An ace.
Top pair.
An
ace. And seat 6 is ahead here. He doesn't know that. But in a no-limit tournament, and I flop a top ace, it's great if I have cold call raise from the button. I got to think I have the best hand. In this case, he does. And let's see how he moves here.
Remember, most of these guys are college students, USC and UCLA.
4,000.
It's part of the what they call the Octagon Party, which is a group of the colleges, I guess.
And he's asking what the minimum bet is. Possibly try to trap the button here, Denny.
Well, the minimum bet is whatever the big
Right.
blind is.
Which,
So
and the dealer said
we're
4,000.
playing 2-4 right now.
He's
so
counting
it
his
is
chips out
4,000.
right here, so let's see how much he's going to bet.
He bet
How much is that?
8,000.
8,000.
Okay, 8,000.
What you got left?
They're asking what he has
I put
left
them all
there.
in.
He's going to put them all
The
in.
button goes
C4.
all in.
all in. Here, he's in small blind has the best hand. That's 8,000. Looks like he has another 15 or 16 left, Denny, here.
He's already all in.
Looks like he's got
I'm
about 18,000 left. And I'd be surprised to see him lay this down. He's going to call it in.
He's calling. He
And he's a
is.
big favorite here.
Yeah, he's
He's a
calling.
big favorite with the kicker.
Now,
Yeah,
see,
open the card.
in tournaments, they're going to open the cards, so
Right,
we got to
right.
take them off our camera.
You know, seat 4 is going to draw to hopefully the board's going to pair or an 8 is going to come. And look at that, an 8 comes, Denny.
Let's get the board. Let's
Wow,
get the board.
an
There
8
we
comes. And ace-9 was way ahead
Yeah,
of that
yeah,
hand,
yeah.
Denny. And
Well, Jack 8 also. You know, he made 2 pair, but he obviously it's no good either.
right. Wow.
But he probably got a little excited for a second.
Well, you can only put your chips in when you have the best of it. And
Yeah.
in that case, the guy in seat 6 definitely did. And, you know, there's a lot of luck in no-limit hold'em tournaments. You know, it's not all skill.
That's right. That's right.
You know, he made a great play there. Had the best hand.
I played at one of our super satellites last night. Came in second place.
Wow. Did you get a seat?
No, we didn't get a seat.
Oh, okay.
The prize pool wasn't that big, but I made $500.
Wow,
on
there
it.
you go. Did you take one shot or did you do a rematch?
No, I was in 260.
Oh, there you go.
But I made $240 out of it.
So you did about 5 rebuys?
Yeah, I did a buy-in, a rebuy, and a double add-on.
Okay. Excuse me, yeah, 4 rebuys.
Super satellite we have
One blind, one big
is $50 buy and $50 rebuys. There's a $10 entry fee, and for every $2,600 in the pool, we'll give away a seat to our championship event. But if it's under $2,600, we could give away satellite buy-in chips and a little bit of cash too.
And Denny, this is an interesting situation here. You might be able to explain. Of course, the small blind, the person who was going to be the
Small blind
got
is
knocked out.
So now we
so-
have one big blind
big blind.
because seat 8 also got knocked out.
Right,
So the button freezes.
right,
We're in live action. It wouldn't freeze. It'd move forward.
right.
The button freezes, and next hand the button will freeze again, and seat 9 will be the small blind. Seat 1 will be the big blind.
Of course, that's very unique because 2 people in between got knocked out at the same time
Right.
there.
There's actually 4 seats in between those 2 players.
And you wouldn't see that, like you said, in cash games. You'd always see two blinds in the cash games, at least the way that we do it here. You would never see a 1 big blind situation in a cash game here. And this is
Right.
exclusive to
Right.
tournament rules.
Now the limits just went up. It's now $1,000 ante. The blinds are 3 and 6,000.
So I came to that one. I was wondering if maybe you had.
I need 1,000.
Now, a lot of times I like to use the simple rule, Denny. If I am less than 7 or 8 times the big blind, I really only have one move when I raise, and that's all in. So, you know, if you're looking at someone, you said the blinds are 3 and 6 now, right?
Yeah.
Someone who's got less than 60,000,
You guys have all
And most of them do.
because the levels move up so
Right,
fast.
exactly.
There really isn't really move. You know,
Some people like to refer to it as a crapshoot.
yeah, there isn't a lot of movement. But C2's picked up a pocket pair, which is a huge no limit, like 5-handed right here. He's got pocket 4s.
Yeah.
And he's under the gun, and I wouldn't be surprised if he moved all in right here.
C4 has an ace 8 offsuit.
I really love this, Denny. I love, this is our first night of tournament. I really love the change.
We try and keep the tables pretty well balanced, and we're 5-handed here. So I got to assume that the other table that we don't see is either 5 or 6-handed.
Now that's very, very interesting, Denny. I think that he called there. Possibly if he tries to hit his set, maybe he's going to trap one of the larger stacks. So it's just going to be him against the big blind. Now, if he had put in a raise, I think 7-8 offsuit would have been very, very difficult to call. So he might have misplayed it there. Now, he still has the best hand here.
They just moved a player in from another table.
Wow, and he checks behind Denny with pocket fours. Maybe because, seat one could have any hand, of course. They both have nothing. Remember, this was not a race pot, so the big blind could hold any two cards. Both of them have flush draws here. Seat one has a gut shot straight draw with higher spade. And it's going to get checked.
Debbie.
That is 10,000, and the pot is laying. Pot is laying about 20,000 here, Denny. 18 to 20,000. So he's betting about 10,000 into around an $18,000 pot, and he's going to get 7-8 offsuit to lay the hand down. It was very, very questionable, that play. That was a very, very kind of passive, weak play by C2 with position with pocket fours. I got to think that I might try to make a bet there on the flop. I mean, maybe he was afraid that he was, seat one could have had anything trapping him, but at least he made a bet on the turn and picked up the pot there. But.
You notice they moved the player into seat 5. That means they balance the table. So
right.
We're 12-handed right now, 6 and 6.
And this guy is, I play with him a lot on 24. I don't know his name, but, he's a
seat 2?
Classic, no, this guy here in seat 5, classic David Schwimmer lookalike.
His name is Henrik? Can't read his writing.
I mean, look at the face and look at the ears, Denny.
Got the toothpick working a little bit.
So 6,000 to call here. Now, Herrick has a Jack-7 suited. He's going to fold. Wow, Denny, the button's got pocket queens. And he's all in. And seat 1 has ace-10, and seat 2 has king-10. So let's hear how much the bet is. Of course, the pot is about 14,000, Denny. The pot is 14,000 with the blinds.
6,000 in pink.
4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 12,000, 15,000.
So the pot is about 12,000 with the blinds, and he's raising.
21,000.
No, 21,000.
He's raising, making it 21,000 to go. 21,000 total. Small blind has 18,000 to call. He's already put up 3,000. He folds. And these are good hands in a short-handed no limit. I mean, it's tough to call with king 10 of hearts here, but not doing a Hollywood hat here. Ace 10 and king 10 of hearts. He's going to fold though. And what a great hand to pick up on the button in a tournament.
Yeah.
Of course, he probably would have done the same thing with pocket threes, pocket twos, or any ace.
Look, he had 21,000. Now he has well over about 35,000.
Right.
Right. Just picking up the blinds and the antes.
Yes.
And actually, Denny, if the tournament breaks early, what we're going to do, if some people are wondering, is we're going to pick up I believe, $100 restricted buy-in no limit game after this is over.
Oh, cool. Can I play?
Yeah, why not?
I'd like to.
And we haven't done that on this show before, I don't think. Now the button has got an ace-9, which is just great, you're in position and you have any ace, man. It's a great hand to pick up. 6-handed in a no-limit tournament. Remember, to call is 6,000. Blinds are 3 and 6 with a $1,000 ante.
If you just joined us, we're live at the Bicycle Casino. This is a tournament game. $50 buy-in, multiple rebuy tournament. Total prize pool is $39,100, which 15% is going to benefit the Special Olympics charity.
Yeah, 16.
First place tonight is over $12,000.
Wow, Denny, he's only brought this into 12,000. So the big blind already has 6,000 in there, so he only needs to put another 6,000 in to call. He's only doubled the size of the blinds. Some people might think that that's a little bit of a trap. Possibly. Ace-9 is a very, very strong hand in that position. in this part of the tournament. Of course, both players are dealing with live cards, so I might have pushed that a little bit more. It's not like having pocket aces, Denny, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't see Jack 6 go,
No.
though, even if it is $6,000.
But I mean, why would you want somebody like with King 10 suited to be in there if you could push him out with Ace 9? You know?
Right on.
But he just doubled the size of the blinds, so I'm mixing his play up a bit.
Any of this?
Oh, 3,000. You gotta say it. I'm sorry. No, probably put too much up there.
And when we had talked about the inaugural event of the Winning of the Green, we had about 700 players, over 700 players in the tournament.
731.
And tomorrow, when the tournaments on the weekend start at 4:15, it's a $100 buy-in with multi-rebuys. Now, the guarantee is $50,000, but Denny and I were talking before the show. I wouldn't be surprised if the prize pool gets to well over $150,000, right, Denny?
Well, I don't know, 150. It should be over 100, though.
I'm thinking maybe 700 players each do a rebuy. That's 140,000 right there.
I don't think we'll have 700. It'll be somewhere between 400 and 500 tomorrow because it is multiple rebuys.
Okay. Now, seat 9 has got pocket 8s, another great hand, short-handed. I mean, of course, pocket 8s is a slight favorite over ace king, so they're in position.
Clock is not running. Oh, the clock's not running?
19,000.
So it's tripling the big blind to about 19,000.
19,000.
Now, seat 1 has a raising hand, but probably not a calling hand with ace 6 offsuit.
19. Total.
That's about 2,000.
Seat 3 considering with 5-8 of diamonds.
I think that's a little bit of acting there.
Oh, you go here.
So we really haven't seen, a flop yet, and that's pretty common at these stages of the tournament. We'll see a lot of play probably on the final table.
Right.
But at these stages of the tournament, when people are kind of still short chipped a bit, usually you're going to see an all-in where all 5 cards come out, or you're not going to see a flop at all.
I'm sweating under these lights. I'm thinking I don't need a 10.
1,000 ante, 3-6.
So all these people
So
are...
there's 6,000 in the middle right now, plus another 9.
All these people are pretty LA locals here, USC, UCLA
Yeah.
grads or students. You were saying most of the field were students, though, younger people?
Yes.
C2's got an ace-10 offsuit. Again, very, very powerful hand in this position. Definitely a raising hand. We've seen some great hands so far, Denny. I mean, a lot of times you don't see, these types of strong hands if you're only dealing with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players.
He lays it
Wow,
down.
he lays it down. Huh. And that may be because the big blind has a very large chip stack, and we're going to pan around and take a look. Seat 5's chip stack. Well, not that large, Denny. I mean,
Got about 30,000.
you would think you would make a move to try to pick up the blinds and the antes with that hand. I mean, I can understand that you don't want to gamble with someone that can make you go broke. That's the cardinal rule in tournaments. But it didn't look like he had that many chips, and I think seat 2 has more chips than seat 5. So that's a move that kind of I question a little bit.
Yeah.
You would have brought that in for a raise, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Ace 10 offsuit, and you're in great position there. Again, when you pick up the antes and the blinds, you're talking about 14,000 that you pick up in your chips. So. Wow, Ace 10 offsuit again.
Offsuit again.
That's for seat 9. And he's at the big blind. So this is going to be interesting because if somebody puts in a raise, we're going to see, we might see
Ace 6 suited in seat 5.
an Ace Jack.
Ace Jack in
offsuit
seat 1.
Wow.
King Jack in seat 4.
And Ace Jack offsuit looked like he just flat called there, Denny. And I, again, don't really like that play that much either. He is under the gun, but you got to bring these pots in for raises.
Well, you got to remember, we're getting close to the final table, and these guys are going to tighten up. They don't want to get knocked
Guess
out.
it all depends on how you play. Now, seat 5 here in the small blind's got an ace-6 suited. And remember, he already has half the bet in there, so all he would need to do, but he's going to raise Denny out of the small blind. So maybe ace-jack offsuit was doing a trap call there.
10,000.
Wow.
There's 10,000 more.
Yes.
Looks like he raises 10,000 more, so he's raising up to 16,000 total. So it's 10,000 more for seat 9, who's the big blind here to call. He already has 6,000 in the pot, and he's got ace-10 offsuit.
He's still playing.
Counting his chips, looks like he's got about 38 to 39,000 in front of him. You know, I think that he would really, really consider calling this if there wasn't another person behind him, but he's out of position. He doesn't know what's going to happen. And look at this, Denny. Like I said, maybe ace-jack was trying to do the trap, and he's going to move all in here. He limped and then moved all in after ace-6 suited raised him. Maybe that was his intention the whole time, to try to get a raiser and then to re-raise all in. Again, ace-jack, it's not pocket aces, but it's a very, very strong hand in this situation. See if the dealer says how much it is. Well, we're not even going to get a chance to see how much more it was, but, you know, he had 10,000 more to call, and he moved over the top for probably another 20 to 30,000.
40, 50,000 total out there.
And the upper small blind, the blinds? 3,000 small.
I think that could do.
Now, something we may see when they get to the final table, or they get about 5 or 6 handed in the final tournament, they might be talking about a deal, a money deal.
Right.
And a lot of times they'll ask to do it by chip count.
Uh-huh.
And that's when we do put a value on the chips. We
Right.
figure out what each chip is worth and figure out how much each player should get based on their chip count. And then if all the players agree, we make the deal if they want.
Now the funny thing about that, Denny, is depending on how your tournament is structured according to prize pool,
Solid.
I don't necessarily think that that's the best way to make a deal. Because if you do it by straight chip count, people aren't taking into the fact that the person with the most chips has the most chance to win first place. And first place usually pays a lot more than the other places. So sometimes if you do it by straight chip count, it isn't necessarily fair according to how the prize pool
No, there's
works
other
out.
things you got to consider.
Right.
You do it by chip count, and you use it as a guideline.
Right.
Because you got to consider the guy with the button he's a little stronger.
Right.
The guys with the blind that are in the blinds are going to be a little weaker.
Right.
And depends who's got what coming up to the blinds. You know.
I mean,
so a lot of times you'll see the guy with the smallest stack ask for more money, just out of fairness. It's got to be worth it to the small stack to make a deal to stop the tournament. You know, it's got to be worth it as well. So a lot of times the chip leader will have to give up some money to appease the small stack, the short stack.
I just think a lot of people don't realize that, especially with tournaments that are skewed more towards paying the top 2 spots off, that that person with the most chips has so much more of a chance of winning that top prize that, you know, they actually need to sometimes get a disproportionate amount of money too, not just by their chip count. So. Now, look at this. Seat 1, taking advantage. Seat 9 has got ace queen offsuit. Again, a strong hand. Very, very strong hands in these positions. And you think that. And he's going to raise, it looks like. He's going to double the size of the blinds. Kind of, again, a trap raise to 12,000. 9,000 more from the small blind to call. Now, C2's got king-jack offsuit. And if ace-queen knew that, he probably would have raised a lot more. Because I wouldn't be surprised if we see a call here from the big blind. But he's the guy that didn't raise with ace-10 offsuit either. $6,000 more to call. 20,000 in the pot, 6,000 more to call. The pot's laying about 3-1, and he's going to lay it down. Very, very tight play here, and it could be because what Denny was talking about, the fact that people are tightening up, trying to get down to the final table. Because Denny, the pot was 20,000 there.
Yeah.
The guy in the big blind's got King Jack offsuit. He only has 6,000 more to call.
Right.
Pot's laying him over 3-1 odds. He's not going to be that big of an underdog to any hand, really.
Well,
unless it's a huge overpair.
Swing over to C2 and see how much money he has left. He's got that's about $1,000 chips, 20,000.
20,000.
And the ante.
So he could afford to
25,000
he could
maybe.
afford to take the flop off. It's not like he needed to move all in, you know.
That's true, but
So people are playing very, very tight here.
they do tighten up until they at least get to the final table.
Of course, he was out of position, which, he said is critical.
One reason they tighten up too at this point is because they can't see the other table. They don't know who has short stacks or how they're playing over there. So
12,000.
the goal right now is to make the final table.
Now, seat 4 is doubling the big blind at 12,000. He's got an ace-9 suited, ace-9 of clubs. And
9-3.
I don't know. Well, I think seat 3 here, Denny, is totally chip committed. He doesn't really have any chips.
Yeah, but 9-3?
I think he didn't have really enough money to.
Yeah, 2 more thousand is all in.
Yeah, I think he probably figured that he wasn't going to be that big of an underdog to any hand, but he is a pretty big underdog. But the pot's probably still laying him correct odds there.
3 against an ace, and there's the ace.
It's over.
It is over.
No.
Again, people would wonder why he did that. Well, with the antes so high, whatever he only had, an additional $2,000. If the pot was giving him the correct odds, he wasn't going to be that big of an underdog to anything. But 3-9 is pretty much the worst 2 cards that you could have.
All right, here, I got a breakdown of the payout. First place is $12,465. Second place is $6,315. Third place is $3,155. Fourth is $2,160. Fifth is $1,495. Sixth place $1,165. Seventh place $830. Eighth is $665, and ninth is $500. And we're paying 27 spots. So right now they're at the $415 level.
And I think they're asking them to wait here because if there's 5 or less at the other table, they're going to go down and combine to the final table, right?
They might be 5 at the other table, which means we go hand for hand.
Hand for hand, okay.
It means each table plays one hand. If one table finishes sooner,
Right.
the other table will just sit and wait.
Because it would be unfair to move any quicker, right?
And we do it because there's a change in money between 10th and 9th place.
Okay.
It's only a couple $100, but still, if 2 players go out on the same hand, we need to find out who had the most chips, and that person would get the higher payout.
So is the final table going to, it's not necessarily 10-handed, it's 9, it could be a 9-handed?
In our regular tournaments, it's 10-handed, the
10-handed.
final table, but for Live at the Bike, we're set up for 9 cameras. We're going to do it 9-handed, which is the old style. And that forces us to go hand for hand.
Right.
In a regular tournament, in our ballroom, we would go to the final table 10-handed, and there's no difference in money between 11 and 10, so we don't have to go hand for hand.
Right.
And the players enjoy that. Players don't necessarily like going hand for hand because it takes up too much time, eats the clock.
Well, of course, if the levels are on clock, which they are now, the clock is still running. Right?
Clock runs.
Yeah. So, someone could be...
So these people are sitting here, the clock's running, and they're waiting for the other table.
Then I'm trying to see, I think that was a good look at seat 5's chip stack, I believe.
Sign for
Seat 4's chip stack, and that looked like about
He's got 20,
40, 50, probably around 65 or something like that.
Close to 60,000, 65,000.
And, of course, the blinds are 3 and 6.
All right, we are at the final table. They're moving the players in right now at this point.
Take a break. I just filled out a bio sheet.
Come back in about 6:40. It's a different one.
We have our writer, Max Shapiro, who writes for Card Player Magazine.
That's mine. That's yours.
And
That's his.
Max is going to put out these bio data sheets asking the players what their name is, their chip count is. That's very important. We like to get their chip count at the final table. And we like to, it's one of our security measures. Lets us know, if any of our chips are missing, if someone walked off with chips, or for whatever reason.
Now, what happens if there are chips missing? That's got to happen sometimes, right?
It does happen occasionally.
Yeah.
It happens in all tournaments, not just everywhere.
Right.
It just happens, and you got to. At that moment, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You got to keep in mind who your players have been, and we have. I'm not going to reveal everything, but we have surveillance procedures that we can follow to investigate things like this. But normally we don't have any problems.
This is actually very, very interesting stuff for me and for the viewers to hear some of these things from a tournament director. One of the funny things too was on Thursday night, the latest episode of Tilt. The main character, the Matador, was getting past chips at the break. Do you have problems with that, and how do you stop that?
Passing chips at the break?
Chips, yeah. Putting somebody in so that they can accumulate chips, and then to not only dump them off in play, but maybe to literally pass it off at the break.
Yeah.
Maybe have 3 or 4 people working.
I know it's happened in the past. It's happened at some other major casino events. The biggest thing is surveillance. We rely on surveillance a lot. There have been times where we've caught people on camera stealing chips, putting chips on the table, and we bar those people immediately. They're no longer welcome at the casino. And that's the way it should be.
And actually, it's funny because Ron was one of your tournament.
I have 2 Rons. But anyway,
one of
go
the
ahead.
tournament floormen, the older gentleman. The older gentleman.
Ron Kramer.
Yeah. I was playing in the Legends tournament, a $500 no-limit shootout in August, and somebody got up to go to the bathroom and took his chips with him, and Ron disqualified him from the tournament.
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you take chips
off the table,
and
right?
put them in your pocket and walk off, those chips will be confiscated. And if you happen to have all your chips in your pocket, you're going to be out of the tournament.
And those chips don't ever come back into play, so that's a situation where you might be short at the final table, right? They don't come back into play, right? Those chips?
No,
right.
The chips come out of play. They're logged on our sheet so that we can adjust our chip count. See, we do, first of all, to get the chip count, you take the number of players and the number of rebuys.
Right.
And tonight, everything was 500 in chips, 500 for the rebuys. So you multiply it by 500. That's your chip count. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's 300 and something thousand.
Okay.
Okay. Now at this point, we're going to get a chip count from all the players at the final table. You got to remember we have little race-offs too, where we chip up from denomination to denomination.
Right.
So there's going to be a slight variance there, but a few $100s, even up to $1,000, is not so bad because it could happen when you're chipping up like the quarter chips or the $100 chips.
Right.
It could easily happen. But anyway, we get a chip count from all the players right here. They'll add that up and they'll compare it to our starting chip count. Okay? Now, there shouldn't be too much of a deviation. And we know right away if there's a problem or not.
Right.
Most of the times it's pretty damn close. Okay? Now, let's say they were off by 2,500. Okay. Well, that's going to raise a flag to the floorman. He's going to say, maybe something wrong. He might even go back and count all the chips. We've done that before because, we're human.
Right.
Sometimes we can make mistakes counting chips. So if we have to, we'll go back and count the chips. Now, if they're still off, we're going to think about who's been at the final table because we have our suspects. I mean,
some shiesty characters, usual suspects.
We know what's going on, and I don't think it'll happen with these guys. These guys aren't regular tournament players.
Right.
But anyway, in regular tournaments, you know who the shady guys are, who you got to watch for. And then anyway,
tell me that after the broadcast.
You'll play the final table. You end the tournament. You count the chips again. Now you compare the chips from when you started the final table to when you ended, and hopefully they match. They're the same.
Right.
So,
and of course, those people who aren't familiar with tournaments that much, when we talk about racing off chips, when you go up to certain levels, the smaller denomination of chips, the smaller chips make no difference.
Like early on in the tournament,
Right.
when you don't need the $5 chips anymore, when the blinds are 25 and 50, you don't need $5 chips.
Right.
So what we do, we have one person at the table buy up those chips in increments of $25.
Right.
Now there's going to be some odd chips left over. One guy might have a $5 chip. One guy might have $20 in chips.
4 or $5 chips, right?
What we do, we have the dealer shuffle the deck, and they give them one card face up for each chip they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dealer leaves the cards out, gathers all the chips, and breaks them into quarter increments. Let's say there's four quarters at
$100.
$100.
Right.
Dealer will get 4 quarters from whoever bought up the chips at the table, and he'll find the 4 highest cards at the table.
Uh-huh.
Each high card will get 1 chip.
Right.
Each player can only win 1 chip.
Right.
So even if you have 2 aces, you're only going to get 1 chip, and then
Right.
the next highest card would get a chip, and so forth, so on.
And that, of course, is the one time, kind of like when you bring in a hand with stud, that the suit of the card makes a difference.
Yes, the suit of the card we do take into account if there's a tie. Now, and then we do that again when we don't need the $25 chips. And when we don't need these $500 chips, they'll do it again, and then it'll be just $1,000 chips.
I was going to say, do they need the $500 chips now if they're going up?
Yes, because there's going to be a $1,500 ante.
I thought it was going to $2,000.
It'll be a $1,500 ante. Going back to security of chips and chip counts and all that, those are security measures that we take to protect the integrity of the tournament. We're very, very strict about how our tournaments are run here. I'd like to think we run one of the best tournaments in the country. At least that's what some of the players tell me. It makes me wonder about the other tournaments that are being run around the country.
Well, of course, it's just, the sheer mass of players since the poker boom of 2-3 years ago. I mean, you never used to have tournaments where 700 players entered, right? 5 years ago,
Well, look at the World Series now, how big it's got. There's going to be thousands of people this year.
I mean, I heard the under-over was somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 now.
Yeah,
and then I was actually playing with Matt Savage, Omaha a few weeks ago, and he was telling me that he expected more than that.
It's
He really did.
It's just the number is just ridiculous. It's wonderful. Great for poker.
I gotta tell my wife not to watch. Yeah, you're more in Uganda than you are.
And I think that they're actually splitting it off into 3 first days.
Yes, they are. Well, in fact, our Legends of Poker, we're going to split the first 2 days.
You are for the main event?
Yeah.
And how many people are you expecting there?
Well, last year we had 668, I think it was. I expect somewhere between 800 and 1,000 this year.
Have you got a lot of offers and a lot of seats that are going to be sold by internet satellites as well?
We've had discussions. Actually, it hasn't happened yet because we're still far away. But yes, there'll be a lot of satellites online being run. You can win a seat at thebike.com.
Right.
We have some free roll opportunities for you. That could turn into a seat.
And of course, I think that don't they run some supers here every Saturday or every couple months or something like that they give you points towards that main buy-in?
Well, the super satellite we're running right now is for the $25,000 championship at the Bellagio.
Okay.
And that has been suspended for the month of March because of the winning of the Green Tournament.
Right.
But we have our next one will be on April 2nd. And then the point playoff, because you got to get points to play in the playoff to win the seats, will be on April 8th.
And I don't know if we've ever actually explained that super satellite that we do here. It's a super satellite where you buy into a tournament and then you accumulate points by how well you placed. And then there's a final tournament where the amount of points you get is going to be equivalent to chip stack size.
That's
and then
right.
you, however many seats they have.
The
with
total
the
point, you need
pool.
5 points to qualify for the playoff, and then there's a $120 buy-in, which goes into the prize pool. And the players will get 5 times their point total in tournament chips.
Okay. Is there any cap on the amount of chips that you can get for that super?
No.
So you can keep entering supers and keep
That's
entering
right.
them? No. And then you pay off in that final tournament according to how many seats that you have in the prize pool in that final tournament.
I don't know if I'm doing that anymore. You did good. better. You're Chick League now.
Greg is going to be our dealer here, of course. He's been...
The players are on a break right now, a scheduled break. Whenever we hit the final table, we give them a chance to go to the bathroom or have a cigarette.
I was going to say, he's going to be the dealer here, and he's been dealing here at the Bicycle for, I think, at least 10 or 15 years. And people that have watched the Legends on the World Poker Tour, he's been the dealer on those final tables a few times, right?
Yeah. Hey, you gotta say hi to my friends at 2+2. They're out there today.
I think they do.
Oh, look at this. Kev Math is saying, can we have a petition to have Denny play the $100 game so we can critique his play? Great idea. Great idea. I'd love to go play.
Denny, put down the kebab and look at your
Did you hear that? You hear some of the players here, they're saying, we could chop this right now and everybody get about whatever the number is. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. In our opener event with the $100 buy and the 700 players, it's more likely to happen there.
Right.
Where first place was over $25,000, and it only cost the guys $100 to get in. So there's a lot of money on the final table.
Did they break a deal there?
I think they made a 5-way deal that night.
5-way deal. Okay.
I'm trying to remember what the biggest deal we ever had was. I think it was like, God, I want to say 54 players. We made a 54-way split at one time.
The guy's like, chop it evenly, I'm going to take a shot. Look at his chip stack. See it now? Actually, I've been there at the final table watching Denny sometimes where these guys discuss deals and the clock is stopped for like over an hour while they try to figure out the damn deal.
I don't know if it's been that long. I hope not. Not my tournament. I won't let them stop for an hour. I give them about 5 minutes, and then my patience runs dry. I say, shuffle up a deal.
But you'll stop the clock.
Oh, sure I will. Sure I will. I figure it's the players' money. Let them do what they want with it. If they want to try and talk a deal, I'll be respectful and stop the clock. Let them do their business. But if I see it's not going anywhere, I'll get the ball rolling again.
Yeah. So at a full table here when we start, we're going to see some more play than we have seen when people were tightening up. And I actually see some comments even on 2+2 about that guy who was laying down ace-10 in position.
Yeah.
That play was absolutely amazing to me. But,
well, you might see him loosen up just a little bit more now because all the players are at the final table. It's a lot different.
And I don't know if we're going to – actually, you know what I'm going to do? And maybe if – I don't know if we're going to get the chip count papers, but if my guy Isaac, he's going to do, if he can just pan around to each individual player, and I'm going to do a little chip count in their heads, and I'm going to write it down.
Well, I just found out from a reliable source, they are going for a chip count right here.
Okay, so seat one looks like about 30, was that 20? You think those are 20 chip or a little less?
He's got about 10 pink, that's 10,000, and he's got about 25 of the yellow. So about 15,000 there. So give him about 25,000. Got 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, about 76,000 for seat 2.
And 2,000. You got a running total on that? It's about 27.
Seat 3 looks like he's got about, what, 12, 13,000?
I can't tell from the angle. It might be taller than it really is.
Say about 13,000 maybe. Yeah. Oh, that's seat 3, I'm sorry.
22, 24.
If you listen, they're counting them down right now.
5, they'll round that up to 26. 27, 28, 29,000. Little less than 30,000.
Oh, he's adding up the prize money. $29,000 remaining, roughly.
Was there 9 players left?
So seat 3 has about, I think it looked like somewhere around 10, 20, 30,000. Seat 4 has got 13,000. And let's see seat 5 here.
Seat 9's the one you have to worry about. He's got
Seat
sharp
5,
stack.
Seat 5's got about 10, 5, 10.
I don't know if that's a good idea either.
50, maybe 19,000. Seat 6.
Okay, I've never been here. How long do you have to show it on here?
You're going to put the cards like this.
Maybe 11 or 12,
No.
something like that.
As long as you're in the hand, you're going to leave it like that.
Seat 7 looks like, what,
You check
20,
them, then put them.
30,
Yes,
40,
check
50,
'em, put 'em, and then if you're in
60,000.
the hand, leave them.
Seat
Just
8.
like this,
What
not like
if you
this.
forget what you have?
That's
You
seat
can
8.
always look
Yeah.
back. There's no problem, but they want them left there like this. In vertical, not like this. They read them easier like that.
I've been
20,
here dozens of times.
30, 40, 50, 60.
You're just testing me.
Seat
huh?
9.
I don't want to get these guys. I don't want them to think.
Okay. Well, I've only seen one person.
Seat 9 is very, very short shack, maybe 2 or 3,000.
I've
4,000.
played with him.
So I have these numbers written down, and I'm going to try to remind you of this. So seat 1 has got about 25,000. Seat 2 has got 76,000. Seat 2 is the chip leader. Seat 3 has 30,000. Seat 4 has 13,000. Seat 5 has 19,000. Seat 6 has 11,000. Seat 7 and 8 both have about 60,000. And seat 9 is very chip, very, very short stacked of 4,000. So we're looking at seat 2 as the big chip leader, and seats 7 and 8, having a decent amount of chips as well.
Well, they're going for a 9-way chop here. They're going to have to give us some money to seat number 9 to get him to. Where's that other sheet I had?
Oh, the prize pool. I think Ron should get back.
Here it
Oh,
goes. See, 9th place pays $500, so they're all guaranteed $500.
Right.
So you take that off the top. That's what, $4,500, and that's going to still leave
We should still be at 3-6.
about $24,000. Then they're going to figure out the chip count, what their percentage is.
Well, the funny thing, Denny, have you ever seen them where a guy won't make a deal until the cards are drawn out for the button? Because that's got to make it be a decent play. Because, if seat 9's got the button, or then as opposed to being
that would be a very good thing to ask for.
Or as opposed to when he's in the big blind the first hand, when he's going to be committed the first hand, right?
That would be a very good thing to ask
Yeah.
for. Ask him the high card for the button for us.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we get to see some play. I really do. I think it would be very interesting.
Huh? We're going to drop for the button and everything. Yeah.
Once they do that offer and decide if we take it or not.
Are there any? What's the point when you can make a deal, Denny? Is there a rule regarding that?
There is no rule. If they all come together, like I said, we've made a 54-way chop before. And that was a free roll tournament.
Okay.
But still.
Someone can call you. It's 10-minute delay. I think it's like 10 minutes.
Those can't be on. You can't answer the phone at this table, and it's a 5-minute delay besides.
We're waiting for the floorman here. They're calculating how much each player will get based on their chip count. And then they'll come over and announce it to the table. And they'll ask the table to verify one by one. And if they all agree, the tournament will be over.
Well, I can't really see them doing that, though. I mean, I know there's been talk about that, but are they serious about doing a 9-way chop?
Well, they must be if they're sitting there just waiting. But like I say, they're going to have to give up some money to seat 9. I'd be real surprised if seat 9 doesn't ask for some money, because if he only has $4,000 and he's guaranteed $500, I'm going to guess maybe he'll get $800. By the chip count. He might want to ask for a little more. I mean, why take $800 when first place is $12,000? Why not take a shot? And you brought up a very good point. They should high card for the button.
Well, yeah, position where the button is, and the first hand is the whole, very big.
Now, seat 7 gets the button. Now, seat 9 might want to consider taking $800.
Obviously, right? He might want to consider taking $600. Really. he's pot commit pretty much.
Yeah, listen up.
53.45.
53.45.
3,015.
3,015. Seat 3.
2,050.
Well, these are the prize
2,050.
36.05.
36.05. Seat 5.
1865.
1865.
7, 4165.
4165.
Seat 8, 5035.
5035.
Seat 9, 905.
905 for seat 9.
Okay, we're coming around.
Now he's going to go around.
One.
Starting seat 1. Are you okay with your deal? Are you okay with your deal with number 2?
3. Okay.
Hold
4.
on.
I think 2 said no, Denny.
No, he would have stopped right then.
That's the only way.
Well, the way
What am I saying?
What number are you?
What's that?
You object?
4165.
That's what I get if we go to for a chop.
See, the way we do this here, if everybody agrees the tournament is over, whoever has the most chips is first place.
Well, C5's just objected here, Denny, so.
We get the money. We'll get the money.
We don't play it out for like.
C5 just objected.
What
Hang
number?
on.
What number is he?
2004.
He's number 4.
Seat 4.
$2,050. Can I see that? Can I see your breakdown there?
Well, this is first place.
Yeah, I know.
So you will have to be third or better.
I just found out seat 4 is USC, UCLA, seat 4, and the older gentleman in seat 6 is UCLA.
No pressure.
So far, we're going to chop it.
Oh, seat 5, 4, and 5. 4 is UCLA, 5 is
We have
USC.
agreement on.
Well, the question too, Denny, is if somebody objects, can then they propose something new? And then,
Yeah, they can do that too.
But only one person has to object, right?
Okay.
That's
It's a
right.
much better deal.
Seat 5.
No problem.
6, 7,
No
Oh,
problem.
wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute.
9,
I'll do it.
10.
Do you see the chips where they're at?
Bart, we got a done deal.
Well, I'm a little bit disappointed.
No, this is live at the...
Yeah,
You know a guy, son of a bitch, if you ever seen this guy.
I mean, don't these guys want to be on the internet? I mean, come on.
300 players. Congratulations.
Congratulations. I want to shake your hand on that 18. That was great.
Well, for those of you poker diehards, at least you get to see the process of a deal there, right, Denny, with the tournament director explaining it.
Next time you bring her with you. For $50 per
Can't
her
make
in
him play it out.
My wife will
It's
kill me.
over. The deal was made.
I'm afraid to go.
Again, we talk about how it was a small buy-in, right? So people are happy with the amounts of money that they've won.
Although this is 5,000 more, so hey.
And Ron is coming in and saying officially that it's over.
And flowers,
$1,000 ring.
flowers, chocolate.
You can buy your way back in, I'm sure. $3,000. I'll buy $2,500. And then I have $2,500 to play, and we're not going to put this out. Chop it up. Wait a minute.
Ron, you want to talk to us just a little bit about the exact deal that was made here? Ron is the one of the tournament floor men, and he's going to explain to you what exactly was done.
Well, if you don't know what a chip count deal is, what we do is there's 9 people left at the table. We take the lowest payout, which would have been $500. Take that off times 9, and then divide the amount of chips into the money that's left. Then we add the $500 back into each place.
Yep.
And that's the deal. Whatever it comes out to, that's what they get.
Now, was there a little bit of a hesitation from somebody where you had to be tweaked in some way? Or?
Well, seat 4 wasn't sure what he wanted to do. And but he didn't really understand what was happening.
Oh, okay.
He thought, well, maybe we're going to keep playing after we made the deal and stuff like that, which of course doesn't happen.
Of course, Ron, Denny and I both saw on the second to last table, seat 4 on the button with ace 10 offsuit, laying the hand down. So I don't know if he understands a lot about tournament
well,
play.
you know, don't forget a lot of these are new boys that haven't played a whole heck of a lot.
Right.
And so that they really don't understand but it's a good practice for them. It's a low buy-in tournament.
Yep.
And they enjoy it.
They enjoy it. And Denny told us we had about 289 players.
283.
283 with 499 rebuys.
283 entries. Yeah.
And I was asking Denny too. Denny exited the room. I think he's going to make the tournament presentation about how many people do you really expect with rebuys tomorrow? I mean, you have a lot of experience with this too.
I'm looking at somewhere between 450.
450 so probably a prize pool of over 100,000.
Close.
Close to 100,000.
Yeah.
Of course, the tournament starts 4:15 tomorrow.
4:15
so.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for your time,
Okay.
Ron.
Everybody gets a
All right. Have fun.
All right.
When somebody neglects.
So, we're here live at the bike, of course, and we wanted to see some tournament play, but sometimes this type of situation happens with a low buy-in tournament where people are happy with winning several $1,000s as opposed to gambling it up and only taking back 800. So we saw a nine-way chip count. Ron explained to you exactly how they calculated it out, and we're here and we're waiting for, I believe Denny is going to make a tournament trophy presentation to the guy with the highest chip count, who's going to be the winner. The game that we're going to have on after this is the $100 buy-in, restricted buy-in game, where the blinds are 2 and 3. We haven't had that game on here.
Now, if we could.
See if we listen to Denny here real quick.
Walk over to the ballroom. We're going to pay you over there. Because I'm going to pick up all these chips, and we're going to get a live game here because we are live on the internet right now. We want to get some going.
So if anyone's never seen Denny's mug, well, actually I guess we can't see his mug, but that's his tie. See if we can get pan up here. There we go. There's Denny. A jolly portly fellow at that. Denny Williams. He's going to pick up all the tournament chips, and the tournament chips are going to be confiscated for another tournament, and then we're going to get this $100 no-limit game on here. And even though we didn't get to see play there, I thought it was kind of interesting, especially having Denny in the booth, to see how these deals are worked, especially multi-way deals. It's kind of rare that you might see a 10-way chip deal. A lot of times you'll see 3 or 4-way chip deals, but you go around and you ask each individual player, if they agree, and it's kind of like a trial by jury. It has to be unanimous. If one person objects, then there is no deal, and they would have to either play or propose a new deal, and they all agreed. Seat 4 was a little bit confused. I think it's probably one of his first tournaments as to exactly what was going on there. So we saw a slight hesitation, but in the end, everyone's walking out, a winner. And I'm sure seat 9 is happy there too. And it was interesting for me to see the fact that they didn't high card for the button. Sometimes when that guy like that is in such chip trouble, you would think that they would high card for the button just to see the position of the the first rounds of hands, because obviously it's going to make a huge difference if seat 9 draws the big blind or close to the big blind, where he's going to be forced to play the first 2 or 3 hands all in. And if he drew the big blind, I would give him much more than 10th place pay it. He doesn't really have a right to much more, but they didn't draw for the blind, and he ended up with almost double what place 10 was going to pay. So, sometimes you'll see that.
Is that right on?
You know who you can push. You know who you can Al Nancy Yates.
Mike. All right, guys.
And I'm sure that we're going to see some final tables here in the future on Live at the Bike. Some that we're going to actually see play on. It was just a little bit unfortunate that we didn't get to see any play on this one.
200 game right here, okay? If we get the table cleaned up, they'll be here in a second.
You still got out of dealing tournament.
I was ready for it at this point.
So we cleaned off the table here, and we're going to get some live action poker in here in the next couple minutes. I want to say hello to all the posters on 2+2, and of course you can email us at live@thebike.com. And just reading through some of the threads here. Jive Dadson is calling the 9-way chop a bunch of wusses. I tend to agree, Jive. That's coming in from San Jose, California. I know that guy's posted a bit. He's also thinking that they shouldn't allow that, particularly not on this big broadcast. Well, if we had thought that that might have happened, we probably would have had to have told the players beforehand that it wasn't allowed. We can't just come in and say all of a sudden, oh well, you guys can't chop. I mean, it wasn't an anticipated thing. I mean, I'll ask Denny, but I'm pretty sure that they can. If they specify that they can't chop, up to a certain amount. He said that there's no rules about it, but if they specify for this specific tournament that you can't chop or you can only chop with 3 or less people, then they wouldn't be able to do that. But they didn't make they didn't make that ruling. And Denny's going to be back in the booth. And Denny, I'm going to ask you a question because I was reading a post here. If you had specified just that for this specific tournament that you couldn't chop.
Yes, I could have done that.
You could have said you can't chop unless it gets down to 5 or something like that, right? And then that would have been a rule.
I didn't think about that.
Right. And
until it was too late.
But you can't do it after the fact, after the tournament starts. It's not really fair. So you live and learn, right? So maybe we'll do that next time.
That's right.
Plan to put a tournament.
We're going to bring a live action 200 buy-in game.
Oh, we're going to bring a 200 buy-in game. Okay, I thought we were going to do a
they
100.
decided they're going to move the 200 game. They had one going.
It's funny. I also see a comment that the guy in seat 6 is a TJ Cloutier lookalike, and it's true. We had a David Schwimmer lookalike and a TJ Cloutier lookalike on the final table.
We had a...
Right after that, the hand I saw was
what's his name? Paul Darden. Yesterday.
Yeah, Paul Darden looked like the guy. What was his name?
They were
Leland. He certainly didn't play like Paul Darden, though, I gotta tell you. David Tuckman was actually telling me that... Tell me about that guy.
It's too shiny in my head. It's too shiny.
Action players, though, Denny. If there was all a bunch of weak tighties like me, right, you wouldn't get that type of action.
Right, weak tighties. Tidy is right. The weak part.
At all times, as long as you're in, you could do this, check them.
Said I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'm sure.
Or if you're gonna stay in,
I'm sure you get over it, Bart.
There'll be more to come in tournament play.
I don't think Evelyn will give up. Get over it.
They stay on the glass.
Big hours of psychiatric therapy.
Yeah, back and vertical, not horizontal.
Where'd they go?
Vertically.
Stay, leave it here.
I think it was good. I mean, you don't get to see like those types of deals kind of explained out and what they do. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's some value of the show, right?
All right, and then click on the live. Live.
Well, how about 2+2? Anybody got any good jokes there? Did you hear the one about the guy that goes in the bar with the 12 shots of tequila? Oh no, I can't tell that one.
It's live on the internet.
See, these people were thinking you were serious about getting in that 100 no limit.
Everybody signed a release.
Actually, I was. In fact, they had every intention of making this a $100 game, but the last minute, that gentleman right there, Rick Nebbiolo, said he's going to. They had a 200 game where all the guys said they would play, so he's going to move that one. I'll get in this game. In fact, I'd rather play in the 200 than the 100.
I would too, man.
It's much more of a juicy game.
It's okay, I'm just telling you.
Of course, no one on 2+2 knows who Rick Nebbiolo is.
Yes, they do. He's probably the head moderator.
Come on, I'm joking, Denny.
I know. You guys want to see me playing the two? Can I play in the 200, Evelyn?
I think that we could probably arrange that for a few minutes.
What do you mean a few minutes? I ain't gonna go out there for a few minutes and play. There's a seat open too. God, I'd be scared to play with all you guys watching me, though. I mean, they dogged me bad enough now, can you imagine? That wuss laid this hand down, or why did this jerk bet this hand? That was a weak play. If you guys promise not to dog me, maybe I'll get in this game, okay? Oh, if Rick Nebbiolo gets in, I can bluff him all day long. He's so tight. I'd rather have him on my right, though, than my left.
Do you know where the button
We
was?
usually always like to have someone like that on your right. Because if he's on your left, Denny, you know he's going to try to isolate you. Denny brings in a raise. Rick Nebbiolo re-raises.
I'll call you later, but I'll be on the webcast.
Go.
All right. If I can go get seat 6, I'm going to try and get seat 6.
Okay.
And play live at the bike.
Because he just went to go call his wife.
As Denny Williams exits the booth.
Yes.
Yes, jackpot.
Denny, this is going to be great, I got to tell you. Of course, we're here live at the bike. We're here every Wednesday through Saturday from 6 p.m. Pacific time to 10 p.m. And we normally stream live cash poker. Tonight we did a tournament that ended up in a final table 9-way chop.
If he dealt the last hand, if he was in the last hand.
And we're going to do a $200 restricted buy-in, no limit game right here. And Denny Williams is going to go out and play in seat 6. So this is going to give you guys a little bit of a kick. Your 2+2ers that give him a hard time. And Rick is going to be to his left if he gets to seat 6. So this is going to be a... Oh, and here he is. There's his mug.
I said, I'm going to be afraid to play hands because, they're going to say, oh, you played that one weak, that one too strong.
Can I bring my cards out there and
look
at them?
They can hear it, too.
Yeah, there's a microphone right there on the table.
So 2+2ers, like I said, I'm actively monitoring the threads, and I really want to observe your input about Denny's play.
Great color.
So how much time delay is this?
It's a 5-minute delay. 5-minute delay.
Let's go. We're going to control everyone this.
Really?
You're first, Rick.
Well, I'm going to clean my
What happened to the lady? She doesn't want to play?
No, she didn't want to play.
Someone's got a king 9 and someone's got a jack 10 here. Of course, $200 buy-in, restricted buy-in. You can buy in for exactly $200, no more, no less. And when you get below $100, you can bring your chip stack back up by $200, making it $300. Or if you go down to nothing or anything below $100, you can bring it back up to $300. So if somebody goes broke and the game's been going for a long time, we can see a lot of money on the table. Blinds are 3 and 5, $3 small blind, $5 big blind.
You want to take a hand, Denny?
I listen to you a lot.
Oh, come on, Denny, take a hand.
Denny, you can post inside.
Denny, you want to post in between, or you want to
post in between?
You can post in between.
Post in between, Denny. It's the best deal.
Post in between.
There we go.
That's a $3 blind there.
The funny thing about posting in between, it's kind of, it's offered at the bike, and I had actually not seen it offered in a lot of other casinos.
Bart's flick the lights twice if I should call, 3 times if I should fold.
Of course, we are here on a 5-minute delay, so that wouldn't quite work. But the bike offers posting in between. When you come into a game new at the yellow chip level, you can actually post in between the button and the small blind, and the button passes you. But you don't have to, you get an extra hand. So it's actually a really good deal. Sometimes you see that in Omaha games around the country. And Denny had a Jack 7 offsuit for all you 2+2ers out there. I'm going to keep you apprised exactly what Denny has. Now C4's got an Ace-King suited here. Big slick. And seat 8 is got pocket 3s. And wow! Right off the bat, Ace-King suited flops the nut flush, and seat 8 flops a set. You wouldn't want to really slow play this with if you're seat 8, and the full house comes out. Oh, look at this. $30 bet from seat 8 right off the bat. What a hand.
Pot's been raised to 90.
And he's going to raise it with the nut flush. And is that Max Shapiro in seat 4? I don't know if we can be that lucky. No, it's not him. And he's going to go all in, and they're going to get callers. And right off the bat, we see a full house against a nut flush, about $250 to $300 pot.
Yeah, turn him up.
I was going to say, you wouldn't really want to slow play 3s in that. And
he's not going anywhere anyhow.
Wow! Right off the bat, and 4 3s. 4 3s against the nut flush.
Well, wait a second. 80.
And they're talking about how they might be able to hit the jackpot. They really couldn't hit the jackpot in that circumstance unless a 3 had come. Actually, they still wouldn't have been able to hit the jackpot because they wouldn't have had a royal flush there. But what a hand right off the bat. I was going to say, if I have pocket 3s in that situation, there are 3 hearts on board, I don't want to let a free card come out. I mean, you land a heart, and then what happens? Heart comes on the turn. What happens now? How do you feel about your pocket threes now? But he let one come off. The ace-king slow played it. I don't think that was necessarily a bad play, although David and I have talked about how if you let one come off, if you have the nut flush, that if heart comes, you're going to get all your action killed. Flops nut flush, free card comes, pairs the board, and then fireworks, as I say, on the turn. Full house over nut flush, right off the bat. Unbelievable hand.
Yeah, but
I know, but you might not. You might not.
I've only 200 bucks.
Sure.
2,000, I think about it. Yeah.
And Denny is seating in seat 6. So we'll definitely keep you apprised of what Denny has every single hand that he plays. And we'll get the names of everyone in here pretty soon, too. Of course, when we talk about seat numbers, we're talking about from the dealer's left, which from this perspective is to the dealer's right. Seat 1, going around in a clockwise manner. Seat 1, seat 2, seat 3, and so on around to 9. So that's why Denny is sitting in seat 6. Rick Nebbioli is sitting in seat 7 to Denny's immediate left. And let's see if Rick Nebbioli does some isolation raising on Denny. I certainly would. I would tell you that. That's the Denny cam right there. 4-5 offsuit. Seat 8's got a king-queen offsuit. And Nebbioli doesn't have anything playable on the button.
I had to make Bart think that I was correct.
Now, out of the small blind, seat 8's going to raise with king-queen offsuit. And seat 1 has limped in, looks like, with an 8-10 suited. Now, I don't really know about raising unless you're trying to pick the pot up here out of the small blind with king-queen offsuit. Because he's going to get callers and he's out of position. We're going to see a flop here. He flops top pair. But look at this. Seat 1 is flopped 2 pairs. Looks like, seat 1's flopped 2 pairs. Now, seat 8 has led out to 65. Seat 1's got 2 pairs, bottom 2 pairs. Now he's going to go all in right away. Now, bottom 2 pairs can be a dangerous hand if there's lots of draws out there. Got the clubs. He can be easily counterfeited. Looks like he's going all in for an additional $600. $65 was the bet. And see if we can see how many chips. And he's got a decent amount of chips in front of him. So he's going to have to call his whole stack here, 300. He has top pair. Talk about the value of those suited connectors for flopping top pair, implied odds. And it's really, really difficult to make this call. I mean, that's why you're out of position when you make those types of raises. I mean, he's first to act, he leads out. And, even if he's looking at 2 aces here, it's very difficult to call. And he lays it down. And, that's a perfect example of why sometimes, you might want to raise from the small blind to pick up the pot, but the game is position, position, position. And the 8-9 flopped bottom 2 pair and didn't fool around with it and took the pot down. So we've seen some great hands off the first 2 hands. And so we got looked like we had a TJ Cloutier look-alike. We had a David Schwimmer look-alike, and we have a Max Shapiro look-alike in C4.
I played with him too long. He's going to make a call.
Looking at a joke here on 2+2. What's the difference between a professional poker player and a pizza? The pizza can feed a family of 4. That one's brought to us by Law Poker, the handle. Denny Cam looks like he's got a deuce of hearts, something. Oh, actually, Denny isn't there. Nebbioli's got ace 8 of diamonds. Seat 7, he's going to limp in.
Behind the wall.
Is Shirley doing it right now?
I'm not sure Shirley is tonight. It's probably Bart and
Ace Jack suited
who the other one would be.
for seat 9 here. No one really has much of anything on this hand. Now seat 4 is going to lead out with 20. He's got a queen 10 offsuit. He just has a couple of overcards here. And maybe senses some weakness, and he's going to take down the pot.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was they predicted it would go till about 8, and then all of a sudden they had a 9-way shot. I'm starting to think about preparing.
Got a couple pictures up here on 2+2 of a Denny Williams look-alike. Somebody saying that Denny's much younger than than they thought, so we can tell Denny about that too. Look at this. Denny takes two hands and he gets up. He knows everyone's watching the show to see his play, and he gets up, and I don't know where he is.
It's only a $50
And it's good. You know, it's funny that they're still dealing him in. That's good because we can see his cards. He had a 10 of hearts. Maybe if Nebbioli can give him some ESP, or maybe if we can talk to the floor man and tell Nebbioli to just show Denny's cards over his whole game. That might, no.
Denny folds aces.
Looked like an 8 of diamonds, 10 of hearts. Button's going to raise here. Seat 9's got a 3-6 offsuit. Kind of a classic steel raise. And he's going to get a call from ace 8 of diamonds in seat 3. Whew. Scary board for both players. Now, if it's checked to me and I'm on the button, I really think I would have put a bet in there. And then if the guy called, then you can figure out from there. But I mean, and now it's checked again, and now it looks like he's gonna put a bet in.
30.
Now ace 8 of diamonds is the best hand, but he's gonna lay it down.
Then he just folded aces twice.
Aces? Twice. Pocket aces?
And pocket kings.
No.
We didn't look.
Bart, is that true?
Well, it was actually an 8-10 offsuit and a deuce 5 offsuit, but to you those probably look like pocket aces and pocket kings. No, I'm just kidding. 4-5 offsuit and 8-10 offsuit. Excuse me.
Some sunglasses. Am I? No, you don't have any. These guys.
There's the young Denny Williams.
I should go out to my car and
I'll
get
pay you
mine.
$10. I'll pay you $10. Normally I can't always.
Rick Nebbioli is in seat 7 for all of you, so when I keep saying Nebbioli.
You go to the 500 table?
You know, I wish you were sitting.
Denny Cam, he's got a queen 10 suited. He's going to limp in.
I've heard about you.
Cam that I would limp into from in that position. Go see some multi-way action here.
5, please.
We also see another queen 10 suited from seat 4. 3-6. Now seat 3's picked up bottom pair here. He's going to lead out for $10.
15.
$15, excuse me. Seat 4 with queen 10 offsuit calls. And Denny folds his queen 10 offsuit. Now, I don't like calling just for the overcards here. If it's checked to me, I'm definitely going to bet if I'm queen 10. I mean, that's the whole purpose of calling there on the flop. But 3-6 is going to lead right out. Strong, aggressive play. Well, 3-6 actually had 2 pair. I didn't pick that up. He had top and bottom pair. I thought he only had bottom pair, so he led. And queen 10 laid it down. And I don't know if that guy's intention was just to call with overcards or hope that it was checked to him on the turn so that he could bet. But usually not the type of flat call that you want to make. Just a couple of overcards. He did have position on him, though. Winning the green tournament tomorrow, $100 buy-in with multi-rebuys, $50,000 guaranteed. Tournaments on the weekends during Winning the Green start at 4:15, and on the evenings start at 7:15. As I'm scurrying around to look at some of the other events, I know I just had a schedule around here somewhere. I'll get you some of the next events. We just had a schedule around here somewhere. Now look at this. Denny has brought this hand in for a raise with ace-jack offsuit. The button's going to call with a king-queen offsuit. And the small blind calls 3-5 suited. And seat 4 checks in the dark. Now, Denny's picked up an open-ended straight draw with overcards. Lead, Denny, and he does. I love that bet. Good aggressive play. King-Queen also has a gut-shot straight draw with overcards. Again, another powerful hand. Denny's betting $25 into about a $40 to $40 pot. I like it. I like the move, Denny. I really do. He is out of position. And he's going to take the pot down. All right, Denny, right off the bat. Let's give him a hand right away.
I don't know what they're saying right now.
Just won your first pot.
Thank you.
I mean, ace-jack off-suited, and you get that flop.
That was a good player.
That's a good flop for ace-jack suited. If you don't flop your pair, I mean, you'd like to flop jack, rag, all rainbow, but You know, if you don't flop a pair, if you don't flop an ace,
I had ace jack. Was that a good play?
you know, that's a good play. He's telling the truth about his hand.
Wasn't in the hand.
So we like that right off the bat.
It was a good play. You got the pot.
I got the pot.
You won the
right.
pot. It's a good play.
But that's not necessarily what I had.
I'm used to covering up my chips. I forgot you gotta.
Yeah, really.
Or that, you gotta keep them on the
King, queen suited out of the small blind, seat 4. Again, and with that type of hand, you know, I like to make the raise to possibly steal the limp ins, but if you get a caller, it can be really tricky. Denny's got a 9 jack offsuit. He limped and mocked. I like that, Denny, and I wouldn't even really limped with that hand. And C5 has got an ace queen offsuit in the big blind. Whoa, and what a flop for king queen suited. Top pair with a high flush draw. Jack 10 has picked up an open-ended straight draw, and ace queen doesn't really have much of anything. Now, king queen's going to lead here for about $25. Of course, the button has an open-ended straight draw.
I'm not going to go.
And excuse me, he had bet more than he bet more than 25. Looked like maybe it was more like a 60 or $75.
My gut told me not to call.
And Denny says, Bart, that's where my gut told me not to call.
My gut said don't call, and I almost called. I said no, your gut said no.
Well, then I'm sure Denny would have been smart enough to lay down second pair with a jack kicker.
I would have been in trouble there.
Yes, you would have been. Now, actually, it's funny. Denny told the table that he had I think he said he had a jack 10, when in fact, he had a jack 9. So, see a little bit of a fib there.
How much did it was?
65. That was what's in the pot.
That's what was in the pot. I got the pot.
Wasn't worth it for what I put in.
I don't think so. $10 scares me.
Call.
I guess we can't chop then.
Nah.
Denny's got a king 10 suited in the big blind. Not a bad random hand. Oh, set of 4s. And look at this. Ace 8 has flopped top pair with a great kicker, top kicker. And it's been checked around to seat 4. He bet $25. He had limped in. Oh, excuse me. No, seat 5 led right in with the set. I love that play. Seat 5 led right in with the set of 4s. And seat 4 has doubled the bet, raising to 50 with ace 8. Now the question is a smooth call in order here or re-raise? It's not really that bad of a, scary of a board. Rainbow flop, deuce 4-8. I think maybe a smooth call here and possibly a check raise on the turn depending on what happens. Now if you can spike an ace on the turn here, we're going to see a lot of action. Jack. Look at this. He moves quickly all in. I don't necessarily agree with that play. Maybe he was trying to, show a lot of strength where someone thought that you would be bluffing like that, but I think he kind of gave away his hand there. I love the smooth call. I think I would have loved to have seen a check. Ace 8 may have checked behind and then see a small value bet on the river there. But I love the fact that he bet right into the 4s.
Oh, that is terrific.
And,
that'd be fun. Yeah.
Ace 8, Ace 8 is just, when the turn comes, it's just second pair with an overcard kicker. So.
And then see also the commentary, what kind of impression of your brilliant...
Again, we'll probably have the players' names here pretty soon with seats. Or maybe not, I don't know. Well, we know 2 of them. We know Denny and we know Rick Nebbioli. Denny Cam shows Queen 8 offsuit in the small blind. And looks like he's going to limp in here.
I forgot your name. Rich Carl.
Now, Shirley was saying she doesn't like to limp in with a lot of hands from the small blind, but I think the implied odds, if you only have to call $2, you can almost limp in with anything here. Flop is a 5-6 jack, rainbow. No one has anything here. It's going to get checked around, and let's see if somebody shows some aggression and takes the pot down.
Wait.
Seat
Now I want
6.
my
Now,
hand back.
Denny's got an open-ended straight draw now. Maybe a good time to take a shot at the pot. He's got a draw.
Bet 15.
But it looked like he checked it. And seat 2 with the ace-9 with a gut shot. He actually has the best hand. Is gonna take the hand down. You know, I wonder if Denny puts in a bet there on a powerful semi-bluff if he takes, you know, the hand down. You know, we talk a lot about the strategy of if it's checked around on the flop, regardless of what comes on the turn. If it seems like a blank, you know, bet into it. Now, if I am sitting there with an 8 and it's giving myself an open-ended straight draw, I'm going to take a shot at that pot. Maybe $15, $20, $25 semi-bluff from up front. So, you know, I don't know. Not necessarily a horrible play to Denny to check and fold there, but I'll give him one minor X.
I'm going to wait for him to make an all-in move, and then I'm going to call him and take all of his money.
Doesn't matter. We're going to take another 500.
These guys are eyeing my money.
Really? Well, it's there. We can't help it.
On the button, let's see here. Denny's got pocket 2s on the button. On the button. And 25 was the raise. He's got pocket 2s. You know, depending on chip stack and how big the chip stacks are, he might have some implied odds here to call. He doesn't know, of course, that we can see that all the other 2s are out in the hand, so there's no chance of him flopping set. He lays it down. Seat 4. It was limp, and seat 5 raised with ace king offsuit there and took the pot down. You know, in No Limit Hold'em, we talk about implied odds, the chances of hitting your set. It looked like that was actually a pretty good laydown there because it doesn't look like seat 5 has the type of chip stack deep enough for Denny to make that type of call where he's getting the odds where he can win like a whole lot of money. Well, I mean, you know, Rick Nebbioli, I remember him posting up on 2+2 that if he, you know, if he can see the bet, if he has about 10 times the bet size, you know, it might be worth it to call with a pocket pair. Denny's asking me how he's doing. Doing all right so far, Denny. I think that's a good cardinal rule. If the bet size, you know, if you can win more than 10 times the bet size with your pocket pair and implied odds, I think that you can make the call. And that was a questionable call, although Denny did have position. Denny's got a king-9 offsuit. He's going to muck it. Tight play. Now, the big blind here has got big slick. He's got ace-king offsuit. I don't remember this guy name, but I've played with him quite a bit. He's a good, solid player, seat 9. He's got ace-king offsuit. Bringing it up, raising it to 35. Looks like seat 3 called with an ace-7 offsuit. I really don't like that play. And seat 5 mucked his 4s. And seat 8 with ace-8 offsuit mucked. And ace-king is in a huge, huge advantage here. Flop is 4-10 jack, 2 spades. Let's see how seat 9 leads with this.
45.
He's got overcards and a gut shot straight draw.
Good hand.
A7 offsuit's going to lay it down. Picks up about a $70 pot right there.
But I like my position.
Again, I really don't like the call. Of course, I explained that I don't limp him with ace rag normally ever. And then if someone's going to raise me out of the blinds, you know, I'm definitely not going to call with ace rag because, you know, if you flop an ace, what are you going to do? What are you hoping for when you have a7 offsuit? Flopping a couple of 7s. If you flop a 7, first of all, it might not be good when there's overcards. And if you flop an ace, you know, it might not be good either. So some people can call me weak tight, you know, whatever, but that's a bad call. I mean, the one thing you can say is that you have position on the guy, but you know, I talk about ace rag really not having a lot of value in this game. Button's got a deuce 3 offsuit, and he's going to limp.
4 players.
Check.
Looks like seat 1's flop top pair. Now all diamond board right here. And seat 3 has got the top pair with a decent kicker. It's going to lead out. Wow, and seat 1's going to put a check raise in here. A total bluff, perhaps representing a high diamond, semi-bluff draw. He has nothing. It's a total check raise bluff. It would be very, very difficult for seat 3 if he was putting in a bluff. And he's going to move all in, and seat 1 quickly folds. Seat 1 maybe, picked up a spot that thought that, he could take that one down with a check raise. He didn't know that the guy had top kicker.
So how long?
Top pair with a good kicker there. And guy quickly moved over the top with his top pair. Took the pot down. If the guy was drawing at a high diamond, it would have cost him some money to call there. The diamond draw. Of course, this game is $200 restricted buy-in. No limit hold'em. The chips are $5 chips, yellow chips, $1 blue chips there. Stacks are usually about 20 chip increments, so we're looking at a stack, equaling about $100. Then he's got 4-8 offsuit. I'm sure he's going to quickly muck. Jackpot in this game is $100,000. Bad beat jackpot. And we're talking about a hand that is aces full of tens, beat by quads or higher. And when you do that, you get the loser gets 50% of 100,000 or whatever the jackpot amount is. The winner gets 25%, and each player who is in the hand, even if they've mucked the hand, shares 25% of the jackpot. So it's a great deal. And look at these hands. We see a lot of pocket pairs: jacks, threes, nines, deuces, king, queen offsuit. It looks like the big blind in seat 2 with jacks is going to raise to 35. Probably trying to win the pot out right here. Seat 1's got pocket nines, another decent hand.
We'll see what Bart says.
35 more?
35 more, please.
Seat 8's got a king, queen offsuit. Does have position. Seat 9 is also in the hand, has a king 10 suited. Yeah, it looks like seat 9 has the button.
Call.
And king queen offsuit's going to call, and king 10 suited's going to call. Now, I can guarantee you the player in seat 9, because like I said, I'm familiar with this game, would not call that type of bet from an early position. But he's using his position on the button. Little does he know if a king flops, he's going to be in trouble.
It's going to go down as one of the tight games,
Ooh, a ragged flop. Jacks are, in the lead with the overpair, and he's going to lead. Excuse me, pocket nines is going to lead. Pocket nines doesn't know that he's up against a bigger overpair. He's going to bet $100. Now, seat 2 is going to move over the top all in with an additional, looks like additional $120. So he's making it $120. He's going to get a quick call from pocket nines. Yeah, it looks like it's an additional $120. Pot's about somewhere around $200. And Jacks is in a dominating position here. You can't necessarily fault the guy with nines, for leading in there, and then the raise isn't that much more, so he's going to call. Both players have diamonds, so really nines are drawing to hitting a 9. And I didn't see any nines haven't really come out in any of the people's cards, so he is drawing to 2 live 9s. And actually, Rick had just explained something that I was going to say also, that you can't run the cards multiple times in this game like we do see in the $500 game. It's not allowed here because of the jackpot.
Make a deal to top up the money at the 500 table.
7 of
I wish
hearts.
this was like a tournament where they had to turn their...
Oh, look at that. 9 on the river, drawing to 2 outs, takes the pot down. Unbelievable. Suck out, and he's happy. Wow. We've seen some unbelievable hands so far in the first half an hour of this webcast.
I would have had 3 threes.
Whoa.
I would have had a set of threes.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is I didn't quite realize is that seat 3 mucked, and he mucked for the raise, and he had pocket threes. He would have flopped a set. Wow, what a huge favorite Jacks were in that hand. Again, on the river, nines are drawing to 2 outs. So, we're looking at about, a 2 and 2 and 4. We see about 8 cards. So we're looking at 2 out of 43 cards left. Although I knew the 2 nines were live, so it's actually 2 less than that. But a very, very small percentage that he was going to hit those nines. But of course, I can see the fact that the nines were live. No one else really had any in the nines.
Am I under the gun?
Chips and 4, please.
A lot of time, you think it was the right play, but it's not.
Of course, I'm a little bit behind on the
Raise
threads,
25.
about maybe 15 or 20 minutes behind. People are commenting on the set of 4s, and I totally agree with you. I think it was badly played. Ooh, look at this. Denny's picked up pocket rockets in seat 6, and he raises. And I was looking down at the computer, and he didn't get any action. Whew. Well, he raises up to, maybe he's got a tight, solid image, You never know. I don't know if anyone's going to trifle with him tonight.
Should I get a small blind money?
Like another 75 to make the call. No.
That's right.
Like another 75 to make the call. I mean, there's 100 to call with like another 75. So on the turn, a rag hits again, he's going to bet and put you on the road.
I got pocket
Really, I'm a little confused as to why you think he made that.
He told me. And I would have had 3 threes. And he would have pulled 3 nines on the
They're talking, if you can hear the atmosphere, just about that hand. And, I don't know if it was the right play. Pocket nines could have, laid down that hand if he figured he was on an overpair. I couldn't quite tell. I mean, it might have had to do with the fact that the raise wasn't that much higher. Wasn't that much more. But if he did put the guy on an overpair, I mean, he was really only drawing to 2 outs. So look at this. Seat 6, Denny has picked up ace-king suited. He's picked up big slick, and I don't think he's going to get any action again. He raised to 15. He's picked up pocket aces and ace-king suited. And both times he's not going to get any action.
And we'll see the flop for free. No.
I'll show you this one, too.
Kings? Ace-king suited. Couple of good hands. He's, showing down some. He's showing down some good cards, and
Is that too big of a bet?
well, I mean, sometimes Dave and I say that we like to mix it up by limping in with those hands, and then possibly going for a re-raise if someone from out back raises you. Denny, I don't know if you're good enough to get away from aces if it's limped around and, the board comes rag, and there are 5 or 6 people in. So, I don't mind you raising with those hands at all. I think it's straightforward play. I mean, two of the best hands that you can pick up and hold them, starting hands, pocket aces and ace-king suited. You just didn't happen to get anybody else that had any good hands. So, don't change your play. Don't necessarily loosen up. I think you're doing fine. You got seat 8 limping in here with looks like pocket, 6-7 offsuit. Seat 2 has got queen 10 suited. Small blind's going to limp in here.
Check.
Seat 4's got king queen suited. Club is 10-4-3. So C2's picked up top pair with a draw.
No, it's not a 10.
And you would think that he would bet it here, and he is. Looks like he's going to bet 25. C3 has picked up flush draw.
That's a lot of.
And he's going to flat call on the button with his flush draw. Seat 4 is going to lay it down. Seat 8. Wow, I just don't like that play. He's going to call with a gut shot. We talk about calling with gut shots when there's possibly people, out there with flush draws. He's really drawing to a 5 that, is no good if it's a diamond.
But I haven't seen the...
Blank on the turn, deuce of spades. And I would assume that queen 10 is going to push even more here. Can't be a very scary card. Deuce of spades on the turn.
How many viewers are you getting?
It's about $75 now. And looks like that's exactly what he's going to bet, $75.
75.
Yep. Now the button now has a pair with a flush draw, giving him an additional outs on the turn. He can catch a 2, a jack, or any diamond, and he's going to fold. And It's like I would imagine seat 8 is also going to fold, and he is. Again, I see it time and time again that really, if you're going to draw for a gut shot because you think the implied odds are there, or if you think you have odds in limit hold'em where the pot is laying you correct, where you can take one off for 4 outs, you got to look at what the texture of the board is. I mean, you're drawing to a 5, but if somebody else is in that pot with you and you think they're on a diamond draw, you're really only drawing to the other 3 5s. So you've got to, your odds are even decreased by even more. Max Shapiro lookalike in seed 4. He's got a queen jack offsuit. He's going to raise to 20. Denny Cam's showing deuce 3 offsuit, so.
You're going to try and come over the top on me?
No, he's going to show his deuce 3 offsuit. Looks like Denny's picked up about $12, $13. I mean, he hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, the only thing I can say is that he probably could have picked up that pot with a queen 8, but, I mean, he is in first position, so, I get a schedule here, the winning in the green now. Tomorrow, of course, is the $100 no limit hold'em buy-in with a multi-rebuys, $50,000 guaranteed, but we heard from Denny and Ron that prize pool is probably going to be around $100,000. Monday's limit hold'em, $100 buy-in. Tuesday is, and of course on these weekdays, the tournament starts at 7:15. Tuesday's a $200 pot limit tournament. Wednesday, probably another big one, a $200 no limit hold'em tournament with no rebuys. Thursday is a $225 bounty limit hold'em tournament. And people who aren't familiar with bounty, the extra $25 is people have this disc called the bounty, and when you knock somebody out of the tournament, you actually get their bounties, and you can cash them in at the other end of the tournament, regardless of how you do. And so if you knock out 4 or 5 players and you don't even place in the money, you're still going to make $100 or $125. So it has to do with the amount that you knock out. And it's actually kind of rare to see a bounty limit tournament. Usually that's a no limit tournament. But we're doing a limit. And there, we'll get pocket 9s against ace 7 suited.
He's going to come back with many.
It's like seat 7 in the big blind with pocket 9s. And ace 7 suited is on the button, brought this in for a raise to 25.
One of the biggest pops I ever won was with a 6-7.
And Nebbioli called, or did he re-raise? He re-raised. I love that play. He's a pretty big favorite in this hand. I mean, you think the guy's stealing on the button, and you got pocket 9s, that's a great hand to have. I would definitely come back over the top of that, too. The only problem is if he calls and you get a bunch of overcards, and you're out of position. But, Rick's a good enough player where he would probably be able to maneuver that guy. So, really like that play. We're having a Lips Tour No Limit Hold'em March 20th. Ladies only, which is a $150 buy-in. And LIPS. Ladies, what does that stand for, Evelyn? Ladies something, poker something. So all you ladies out there, you want to come down, it's a $150 buy-in, no rebuys. We really have quite a turnout for these ladies tournaments. It's amazing because the turnouts go up and up and up.
Chips, please,
every ladies tournaments that we do. I'm sure Nebbioli will respond to somebody's post and say what it stands for when I go back and read 2 + 2 later on tonight. Ooh, Denny's got pocket 10s on the button. Another pretty good hand here. And seat 5 has got an ace 4 diamonds. And he's going to raise. Denny, let me see if I can tell you to re-raise, Denny. Re-raise. No, he's going to cold call. I would have loved to have re-raised, especially after Rick came over the top of that guy and he laid it down last hand. And look at this. Seat 8 with ace deuce off suit is going to call. All right, flop is 7-4-8. Denny, you really got to push forward here. Trying to get some clairvoyance. Now the guy's going to bet with a second pair and overcard kicker. Raise it, Denny. Raise it, Denny. No, don't lay it down, Denny. Don't lay it down. You've got to find some information out. Don't flat call either. And he calls. Well, you know, I would say that maybe that call is a trap call, but I don't know if Denny has got the position, you know, he's got the smarts to do that. Now he's got the 10 of clubs, so he's got a flush draw. And if it's checked to you, Denny, bet it. Okay. Gonna bet 50, and he's gonna take it down. Okay. Not that bad. I definitely would have popped it.
That was that part, huh?
Well,
Good, huh, buddy?
I would have. Denny, I'll ask you later on if you were trying to make a trap call there. I'm going to imagine you're going to be like, what's a trap call? But, you know, I think you got a raise there if you're not trying to make a trap call. But, you know, you don't necessarily want to make a trap call when a bunch of overcards can hurt you. I would definitely pop that one up on the button.
Yeah. God, I'm still trying to do that.
And look at this. Denny's got to stack up. He won probably about, I don't know if we can look in there, about maybe $75 in that pot. Yeah, well, he's got about $260, something like that. So there you go. Now Denny's limping in with ace rag, ace deuce offsuit. I've warned him about this types of hands before.
See if I'm on a rush here.
Well, he is in position, and he does have straight possibilities, so we'll see. Okay, and he flops an ace. So let's see how he plays it. I talk time and time again about the dangers of ace rag. You know, he's got an ace. Now he's on the position. You got to bet it, Denny. Look, he checks it from behind. Denny, he checked the ace. Checked the ace, and again, you got to wonder, you know, if it's a trap or what. Now, you know, C3's got a flush draw here. Oh, excuse me, is C3 in the hand? I can't tell if C3 is in the hand. C3 is in the hand, and he could back into a flush draw, Denny, where if you had bet it.
Denny, good luck.
No, he doesn't pick it up.
I got an ace.
Okay, he's going to check behind it.
I had a flush draw.
You know, you missed a bet there on the flop, Denny. You did.
I figured nobody had an ace.
But, you know, he keeps winning, so what do I know? What do I know?
I would have.
I almost did that.
Ooh, what a wipe right there.
Showed him something on the internet, but I decided not to. Because you might have had a queen.
Just to show.
If you have a queen, you go all in, and I'm dead.
It won't be on the internet.
Max Shapiro through the camera. Lipstick camera.
Last night's 500 game was absolutely wild.
Was it?
I mean, I got to see the last couple hours.
Me too.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Was it?
Dan's got a queen 5 suited. He's going to limp in with it.
He was in it for about 30 minutes, maybe. Yeah.
Doesn't really look like people have much of anything here. Big small blind is going to limp in with 4-5 offsuit. Got see 3-way action here. It's small pots, about a $13 pot minus the rig, so it's about $9 pot.
Just don't try to rob him at gunpoint.
Now Denny's picked up second pair and bottom pair, and if it's checked to you, Denny, I'd love to see you bet here. Okay, the guy with the other 5 is going to take the initiative. Oh, excuse me, the guy with the jack. I'm sorry, he flopped top pair. I thought couldn't quite see that, but he's going to bet right out. And yeah, it's too small, Denny. Oh, Denny. Well, maybe he thinks he has implied odds if he catches a 5 or a queen here.
And I guess that, you know, they yell back.
Another jack comes, and he's going to slow play the jack. He gets tripped jacks, and Denny checks right behind. And I was trying to think that maybe Denny thought that the guy was trying to set a trap, but I might have put a bet in there if I was Denny on that case. Now the guy's going to try to sucker Denny in with a $20 bet. Trip jacks versus bottom pair. Oh, all right, he lays it down. Should have laid it down on the flop. Third little X for Denny there. Missed a bet with ace deuce. Shouldn't have made that call on the flop. Again, I mean, am I talking to myself when I say you're not supposed to really flat call in this game unless you're trying to trap somebody? Raise or fold usually to try to get some information. You know, unless you're just trying to call. You can call to also get information. And if the guy checks to you on the turn, maybe he's weak and you put in a bet. I would have put in a bet probably if that guy had checked me, and if he came over the top, I probably would have folded. You know, not necessarily,
I'll be a lot more careful
that bad.
next time I'm over there. Hey, Robert. Of all places, you figure you're safe at the Bellagio.
Yeah, right. How are you this evening?
Denny's got pocket fives. He limps.
Anybody going to let me win a hand for my grandson here? Come on, I need one for my
25.
grandson. Come on, guys.
And seat 8 is raising 25.
For my grandson.
Now, if I do my little math calculation here, we can see seat 8's chip stack. The raise is 25, so if he's got 250 deep, Denny could call here for implied odds. I don't think he has enough money. I think Denny should lay this one. Oh, he's going to call. I was going to say, I think Denny should lay it down. The guy doesn't have enough money if you hit your set. Oh, there's a few people in here.
I'm going to add on 40.
I think the king deuce is out of the hand he is. So seat 9's got the best hand here. Excuse me, seat 1 does. Pocket 9s. I'm going to bet 70. Right into it. Right into the flop.
Yeah, 65 I might have called.
Now, king queen's just got overcards.
I'm adding 40 here.
Very, very difficult to call. Because if he goes over the top, the guy doesn't have that many chips in front of him in seat 1. I mean, that's some of the issues with play in these restricted buy-in games is that if you're dealing with small stacks, and a lot of times if you put in a raise, you're pretty pot committed anyway. So, but I like the bet. And
well, this is something you want to catch. Raymer, some kind of, I think it's on the
like I said,
ESPN 360.
Let's listen to Rick real quick here.
And Raymer does. They take the final table, the World Series of Poker, and they have Greg Raymer doing an analysis of all the hands that he does. I saw it's like a 45-minute clip. I saw it last night. It's fabulous.
On ESPN what?
It's I guess it's on their website. It's a streaming clip of Greg Raymer doing commentary. And
I'll check that out.
And then he did commentary for us last week. And I
heard he did
really
real
good
well.
job.
Yeah, I heard about it.
He's just very artistic. Greg's a very artistic guy.
By the way, I checked out that.
Of course, Raymer was in here a couple of weeks ago, and he was nice enough to come into the booth and spent 2 hours with me here watching the play. He played for 2 hours before at the 500 table, and then came back and commentated with us for another 2 hours. And then went and played 500, 1,000 Doogie after the show.
3 players.
And told me that he didn't have a great night over there.
I've done that before, though.
Trying to chase a little bit of a loss and brought it. Got a little bit of the money that he lost back up. So we got a king jack, king 5, and an ace 6. Ace 6 has got the top pair here with a weak kicker. It's going to bet 15. And he's going to take the pot down. And word is that Rick Nebbioli is going to come back here and do a little commentary with me. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm sure everyone will look forward to that.
All right, if nobody raises, I can call this one blind.
For the grandkids.
For the grandkids.
For the grandkid. Come on, guys.
Check around for the grandkids.
I don't even know what I've got. If you raise, I'm going to have to look.
Denny's got a suited connector, 5-6 of diamonds.
Keep it low.
Talk about the implied odds of these types of hands.
This one's for Jackson.
Right, we're live, and I'm going to be getting up.
Max Shapiro lookalike in the big blind. Can't quite tell him what he's got.
Service.
Seat 8's got a suited connector, 9-10 of hearts. He limps in as well. Shapiro's got jack 5 offsuit.
Flop me a wiener.
Four-handed.
4 players.
Button's got a king 3 offsuit. Denny's flopped a pair here, a second pair.
20.
And Button's going to put in a bet of 20. He's got top pair.
If you're not going to play,
Denny's going to lay down the and seat 8's going to call with gut shot straight draw. Doesn't pick up anything.
Whatever you do, don't river me.
He's going to check it. I would assume the king's going to lead, and he is going to continue to lead.
35.
It's about a $35 bet. I've seen some questionable calls from seat 8 so far. Playing a gut shot, and I don't know what he's thinking here about calling.
Hey, can I order something too?
Is he going to raise? He's going to
35 more.
He's going to check raise half the bet. Maybe he thinks that the button's bluffing here, but seat 8's making a check raise semi bluff with a gut shot straight draw. He might get a weak king to lay down here. Again, he doesn't have a lot of money, so he's kind of pot committed. And he has about $60 left. The pot's already laying about 120. Wow, and the weak king lays it down. So a check raise semi-bluff on the turn.
I want
Gets a king 3 to lay it down. And, you know, that's part of the problem with playing ace rag, king rag, offsuit. There's no chance that you're going to hit your flush, really. And then when you hit your king, well, now you hit your king and you're in position, and you flop a king and you bet, and now someone's going to check raise semi-bluff you on the turn, and you have the best hand, but you get away from it. So you have no idea where you're at. You know, obviously a better king is going to beat you 2 pairs, so that's why I mean, I don't care if you're on the button or not, I don't like to play those hands. Now look at this, seat 2's picked up pocket cowboys, couple of kings in good position. See what kind of raise he puts in here. Wow, he limps in. Okay. Dave Tuckman and I talk about this all the time. He's gonna limp in, and there wasn't a great chance that he was going to get re-raised, so I don't necessarily like that move. And here comes the ace. And he's going to have to shut down here. You know, the purpose of limping in, we talk about from up front, is to get a re-raise in. He's going to lead. Seat 4's got the top pair here, but it is somewhat of a, you know, it's a scary board. Someone could have 2 pairs. 10 jack has got bottom pair with a straight draw. But seat 4 has a weak ace, and he's going to lay it down. Possibly just too many things out there. You know, I don't like limping in with a big pocket pair from out back, because the only thing that's going to do for you is just give everybody else a chance to see cheap flop to beat you. You're not picking up odds where you limp in from up front, and maybe you can get a re-raise in if someone raises you from behind. And then, of course, we talk about you have to look, if that happens and no one raises you, you have to look at the texture of the flop, because your aces might not be good. If, you know, a flop is deuce 3-5, you shoot out, you can't take a lot of heat with kings with that type of flop. So there really is no point limping in, I think, with a big overpair from out back when you're first in. I don't like that play.
6 to 10, Wednesday through Saturday.
Denny has got king jack offsuit in the big blind. It's going to be a raise by seat 1 with ace 10 offsuit. Ace queen offsuit also from seat 8. Pocket 5, seat 3. Flop is king 8-3. Denny lead. Please lead, Denny. Ooh, he checks.
35.
Huh. And the button, who is pocket 5's, bets 35. Denny, I would think that possibly a check raise is in order here. He wasn't the original raiser, Denny. Take a shot here, Denny, on the turn. Bet right in or check raise. Come on, Denny. You got the best hand. No, he checks. And he's going to let a free card come out. And now he's made 2 pairs. But he let a dangerous free card out there on the turn. Very dangerous. What more do you want?
You get anything else?
What more do you want on the flop? You can't play scared poker. We talk about that all the time. I know you're in first position. And then maybe if you had checked with the intention of check raising, then fine. But you didn't check raise. You check called. And by checking on the turn, you let pocket 5s, you know, get a free card there. And if you had hit a 5, you would have probably, you know, taken some money from you there.
Rick, don't talk bad about us.
I'm going to try to say as little as possible.
Be nice. See if we can do something about that. I mean,
Be nice to me, Rick.
When I'm saying that I'm reading 2+2, I'm really just kidding when I say that Denny doesn't have poker smarts. I'm not serious. Don't take it so seriously. Reading from Kevin Mouth. G-Bar, I think Denny does know something about playing poker with that doesn't have the smarts comment. Only us threaders can question Jenny's judgment. Well, fine. Maybe I'll just sit here and be quiet. I don't know. But if you guys lap it up, love it. Seat 8's got the big slick ace-king suited. Seat 1's got ace-queen suited. And seat 1's got top pair with a nice kicker here. But seat 9 is just going to take a move, and really just making a move here with absolutely nothing. And if you're ace-queen here, I don't remember if the flop was raised a bit, but you got to think you have the best hand.
I saw them. Yes, they did.
If the pot was raised, which I think it was slightly, you have got to think that you probably have the best hand here with ace-queen, because I don't think seat 9 re-raised the raise, unless you put him on an overpair. Now, we're going to try to see if we can see seat 9 and seat 1's chip stacks here, and see if he doesn't have that much more. I would re-raise here, put the guy in seat 1 all in, and try to knock seat 8 out. I mean, he's betting 100. I mean, you do have to use your poker instincts and, figure out what's going on here. Again, I don't remember exactly what the pre-flop action was. If it was limped, then fine, maybe you think you're beat, but I think there was a slight raise. And he's going to push over the top here. Ace-king's out. And, the funny thing is that seat 9 can't even call with those little amount of chips. He has nothing. Quickly muck. So we've seen seat 9 try to make a couple of moves here, and it's backfired a few times. Maybe he thinks he's trying to run over the table a bit, but every time he's done it, people have had some decent hands. I mean, if he was lucky enough to be up against Ace-King and Ace-Jack there and made a move, he would have won the pot.
Hey, Bart, remember what they had that hand? I want to know about it.
I will, Denny, I will.
Write that one down for me.
Ace-Queen, Ace-King, and the guy was bluffing with King-10. Look at this, Denny's up about $110 in less than an hour.
No,
You're not recording.
I got to record you.
You probably could, huh? I don't know. I'm not that.
It'd be nice that we can go back and check.
Can you record stuff off the web now? Sure. Yeah.
Well, you can burn stuff off the web, and we're gonna have some of the stuff archived up there pretty soon. We're working on it.
How do you do it? What do you need?
You can set up real players that record.
Really?
Three-way action.
I'd imagine.
That wouldn't surprise me.
C8's got a ace rag in the blind. You got a free roll and bet it. Flat down.
You guys back it. Don't you guys back it up there? You probably have access to all the. Or you guys don't archive.
I don't. No, they are, but I don't have access.
Denny doesn't have access to much, right? Around here. No, Evelyn said.
Chips.
Let me get you first. There's 200. Looked like I was right on top of things.
I mean, overall, I think that Denny is playing pretty well here. I mean, he has missed a couple of bets and stuff. He's got pocket kings right now. He's going to raise it up to 50.
45 to call.
And now the question is he going to be able to get any callers? It might be a little bit of an overcall, but a little bit of an over-raise there. But, if you mix it up a bit, you think that maybe he's just trying to steal.
Lines, please, small and big.
Yeah, but you see all the action I give him?
Maybe that's if you're trying to give the impression that you're trying to steal. But,
I know, I overbet that one.
Yeah, the raises haven't been coming in that much, so it might have been a little bit of an over-raise there. A little bit.
When I saw him, 50 came into mind. That's why.
Now the thing is that Denny's, shown some solid hands. Maybe he can do some stealing. I'd love to see Denny try to maybe bring in some stealing. Now he's got King-Jack offsuit this time, and he's going to limp.
20.
And the button has got 3-4 offsuit. This guy's playing any hand. I don't know what the deal with this guy in seat 8 is.
3 players.
Or maybe seat 1 re-raised to 20. I couldn't quite tell the action there. Seat 1's got ace-queen. He's got the best hands with the queen of diamonds, too. And let's see if he leads. Look at this. Seat 8's got an open-ended straight draw, and the way that we've seen this guy call, it wouldn't surprise me if he calls. He doesn't really have the odds to do it unless he puts himself all in. If he goes over the top all in, why flat call here? If you're going to call, go over the top all in with all your chips. I mean, obviously, the guy isn't going to lay it down, but make a semi-bluff. And he does. He's going to go all in. So he's got an open-ended straight draw. He's drawing to a deuce or a 7 to make a straight. Ace-queen is going to be a pretty big favorite here. He's got about a 27-28% chance of hitting his open-ended straight.
About 130 more.
So it's 130 more. Pretty powerful semi-bluff right here. Now the question is, is ace-queen going to call? He pushed all in with ace-queen before, so the question is, can he call now? Maybe he thinks that this guy's on some sort of draw, flush draw, straight draw. I mean, probably wouldn't put him on 3-4 after the pot's been raised. And again, I don't know if seat 8 brought that hand in for a raise. He's going to call. It's a difference if he brought it in or he called the raise.
129.
So we're looking at an open-ended straight draw here.
Thank you.
Seat 1's got the diamond backup, backdoor flush draw.
All right.
So looking for a deuce or a 7 here. Drawn to a deuce or a 7. And doesn't look like he picks it up. 2 8s.
Aces up.
Open-ended straight draw. And I want to finally welcome Rick Nebbioli. I hope I didn't butcher your name this time, into the booth for his premiere appearance on this show. How are you doing tonight, Rick?
Yeah, thank you. Pretty harried night. We had to move. We went from the tournament to moving a game in about 3 minutes, and it turned out it went really well.
Yeah, it did.
No limit 4.
It was chaotic for a little while there.
You know, the funny thing, I had asked Denny, because we were talking, it was kind of interesting, even though the tournament ended up in a 9-way chop, it was interesting to give me the ability to ask a tournament director questions about the procedures of chopping at the end. So I think it was a little bit interesting. And then I also asked him, he could have put in a rule that said that they didn't necessarily, that they weren't able to chop unless they were down to 4 or 5 players, but he said he didn't think of it at first. Yeah. So they ended up chopping 9 ways. And we
Nine-way chop.
Yeah, we didn't see any final table action at all.
I was just preparing. I was getting up out of the must-move game, which I was running, and then the idea was I was going to make sure I had a game ready to go, but I was figuring it was going to take another hour or so before that would happen. And
yeah.
Then all of a sudden, boom, I got to get a game.
9-way chop.
But the players were really good about it, and we have a nice crowd here tonight.
Now, actually, we saw this move. I don't know. I think that seat 4, let's see if seat 4 is in where the button is. I don't know if seat 4 brought this one in or if he limped, but we saw you do this earlier, come over the top of pocket 9s out of the blind. When a guy raised on the button, he ended up having ace-7 suited, so I kind of liked your raise there. I don't know if you thought he was trying to steal it or what. But
yeah, he made a small. I think he made a raise 2. He made it $13.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a big stack. I just bought in for the 200 as a new player, and I believe I raised $30.
Yeah.
And I think I had about 180 in chips right then. It just seemed about right. If he came over with the top, I probably would have gotten away from the hand. But I thought it was just about the right size raise.
Now look at this, seat 4 mucked the ace-king offsuit. And this guy is a familiar face at the Bicycle Casino, seat 7, Paul Rowe. A lot of people might not be familiar with him, but he's made final table appearances at the final event of the World Series of Poker. I believe it was in either 92 or 93. He finished 7th or 8th. I know Rick's giving me this weird look. Who's this guy? But I know that. His name is Paul Rowe. People can look that up. And it might have been as late as 95 or 96, but he's been to the final table at the World Series of Poker. And I don't know how many people are familiar with him. But
25.
Last night we had Al Leith here, and
yeah.
There was a story once that he was Stu Unger's nightmare. I posted a link on the website 2+2. I don't know if anyone saw it, but he's kind of a fun guy to play with. He's a strong player, and generally he's going to have a strong hand when he puts in the money. But Stu Unger's nightmare was essentially that Stu saw Al walk by, and his nightmare was he was in a heads-up freeze-out with no blinds and no antes, and Al's about the most patient player on the planet.
So as you can describe, you're the 2+2ers here. Like, I'm kind of looking at the threads, but we tend to be about 10 minutes behind.
Oh, they're right here.
Yeah, we get them right here. Yeah.
How old are you?
So if you can click
on
the
page. Oh my God, the pages. Yeah. 15 pages on this thing?
I asked someone what LIPS stood for. I didn't know, and I knew that you would probably know. That's the ladies tournament, ladies invitational poker or something. Right. You don't know off the top of your head? No. I was figuring you would know, right?
I know things like BTW, by the way, and LOL and stuff like that.
Now, Denny Cam, which is seat 6 here, he's got king jack offsuited, he's limped, and I like the muck right there. And seat 1, who's been playing pretty solidly, has got ace queen suited. And seat 1's come over the top a lot of times with the best hand. I'm familiar with seat 9 also here, Rick, and I know him as a solid player from 2040, but he's made a couple of total bluffs, and he's been picked off by seat 1 a few times. Just making total bluffs, and seat 1's got the best hand.
2 players.
Yeah, I played with seat 9, I believe, a week ago. Yeah, he's a very decent player.
Now, obviously, you know, it depends on what seat 4 does here, but seat 1 is going to lead with this. I mean, what more can you ask for with ace queen to get this type of flop? So let's see if seat 4 tries to make a move.
For the button, I kept waiting for him to act.
Right underneath your head.
Because he checks. Unless you think that maybe he's trying to put in some sort of trap here, Rick. But I wouldn't expect him to, slow play with a couple of diamonds. No. Maybe some sort of straight draws out there.
That's not a slow playing. type flop from what I can see.
Right. It's not.
Is this the graphic the players are seeing? That we move
Yeah,
the flop
yeah,
down
it is,
to the
yeah,
lower
yeah.
left? Okay.
You know, I was commenting on how Denny was playing. He didn't. He's played pretty well, but, you know, a common mistake that we see a lot of amateur players making is, I don't know if you remember the hand that he took down when it was a ragged flop. Guy here in seat 5 had brought it in for a raise, and he cold called on the button. Now, this guy had ace 4, and the flop was 4, 8, 7. And the guy bet, and Denny cold called again. Then the guy checked on the turn when a jack came. Denny bet, and he bet him out. And Denny had pocket 10s there. And I was like, Denny, please re-raise pre-flop, and then on the flop you got to re-raise too, buddy, you know?
And at that time, he didn't have that many. He doesn't have that much exposure. He has about 200 in chips, I think, because he sat down the time I did.
And David Tuckman and I usually talk about how, you know, flat calling, especially in this restricted buy-in, no limit game from behind, normally is not ever a good play unless you're trying to trap someone, or you think that someone might be just kind of betting into you as a bluff, and then you think it's going to be checked to you on the turn where you can put in a bet. I don't like necessarily flat calling. Maybe if you're on a draw or something, but I think that, you know, raising or folding is usually the best.
Well, I don't know. When you're deep, a lot of people are looking at the cold calling as almost the new re-raising, especially in some of the bigger tournaments when people are very, very deep.
Denny's got Jack Queen here, and I don't know if he checked it. And seat 9's got King 10, so Denny's got the best hand here. Now, what is Denny doing here? He's going to check it. He's giving out a free card again, and we've seen him do this time and time again. And now he's going to bet. He doesn't obviously know he's got a 10. It looks like he's going to bet about $50, $75.
I like your hand.
$75.
They're going crazy in the booth.
I'd say about 60.
They're going crazy in the booth.
A lot of times, you know, Denny will play very passively. When we've seen it a few times, there was also another hand where he had by far had the best hand, Rick. He had King Jack on the flop, was King 9, 4, and he checked it. And somebody with pocket 5s from out back bet, and he flat called, and then he checked again in the turn, and pocket 5s checked behind him, giving, you know, a couple of free cards out. So he's been playing pretty passively. But, you know, good hand selection, though, at least. You know, he's been playing pretty tight.
Denny gets so freaking lucky there.
Well, I think also both of us were pretty exhausted from our previous duties leading into here. And I think I might have even thrown away a hand I didn't really look at earlier because I was just collecting my breath.
Game starts because I don't. Okay.
Now look at this. Denny's picked up about $200. Yeah. He's up. He's got about $400. He's one of the deeper stacks at the table now.
4 players.
Now he limped in with ace 3 offsuit from the small blind.
Okay, he has an inside straight draw.
Yep, he does.
Small pot.
It's going to be a bet. Let's see. 3 looks like he's just betting with ace 7, ace high. And I don't know if Denny's calling with his gut shot or you think ace high is good.
I'll check.
It's checked behind. Let's see if Denny maybe tries to put in a bluff here on the river. Now he's got a pair of 3s, but a 5 is a straight.
To me, with that type of flop, you want to, in a small pot, you're in the blind, you can have a part
shoot.
of that. Why not lead out with that? Lead out with the draw.
It's a semi-bluff, right? Yeah. You know.
And you don't have to commit that much. Bet about 2/3 of the pot.
Right. You know, one of the other things we saw, Rick, too, there was in a hand that had been limped around.
You never know when you might need
Denny had limped around with ace rag offsuit, which I always tell him in the booth I don't like anybody to play. But anyways, he was on the cutoff and he limped with it. The flop was ace jack 4. It was checked around to him, and he checked with the ace deuce. You know.
Yeah. Why limp if you got
right? Exactly.
Something.
You know. So there's been a couple of things, but he hasn't played that badly. You know.
Oh, close jack button, but not quite.
I just snapped one off on the river at 100,000. I flopped 3 aces, turned to 3, river to 10. He got ace 9, pocket jacks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now Denny's got ace 7 suited on the button. Now I'll limp him with this hand.
You want it over here?
This is 6 hold'em. So it's
second 9's got pocket 8s. It's got to be a scary board. The pocket 8s. He's just going to take a fire on it. And seat 7's flopped up and down. King 10.
Check. Time, please.
Time.
Okay, that's what I thought I had. I checked.
Wow, and seat 7's checked it twice, Rick. King 10 twice.
I'll check the best
and,
hand.
and he still
Queens and sevens.
he still has the best hand now.
I'll muck the worst hand.
Now King's going to take it, but
There's a real
that's a
hand.
very, very dangerous check for King 10, don't you think? Unless he thinks that somebody's slow playing a monster. I mean, he let him, you know, it's...
I think at some point you want to put some money in the pot.
Absolutely. You know?
Yeah. I tend to lead out of the blinds on both my big hands and bluffs. You can have anything on the blind when it's kind of a raggedy board. People have to fear it.
Especially in an unraised pot, right?
Yeah, an unraised pot. It's very hard to put a person on a bet line. I flop a set, 2 pair. I'm leading out, and some of the time I'm going to lead out on a draw. But
now, Rick, were you there for the first hand of the night where the guy flopped a set of 3s? 20. I said he wrongly slow played it with a 3-hearted board, but the guy behind him flopped a nut flush with ace king. He checked behind him, and then the board paired, and then the fireworks started, and both guys got all in.
I was at that point. I think I was a little late to the table, seating players and getting things arranged. I was still sort of working
the
the
guy
section.
flopped a set of 3s from up front, and I think there were 2 or 3 people that act behind him in a 3-hearted board. Now, maybe he checked with the intention of re-raising all in, but someone else had flopped a nut flush, and he checked behind him. And then the board paired on the turn, and then made a full house.
Oh, okay, right. Now I remember.
Now pocket 5s against pocket 5s, and seat 2 with the worst hand. Again, he's talking about the food.
Look at Carl over there with lox and bagel.
I like the way Denny gets the cheeseburger with fries, and then he orders a Diet Coke.
See if we can get there we go.
Here it comes.
There we go. Looks like a cheeseburger.
Yeah, cheeseburger, fries, and a Diet Coke.
And a Diet
Coke.
Sit down here, Rick, if you want.
Now you get the grease from the French fries all over the cars. It's great.
That's what setups are for.
That's right.
You know, as like telling Denny and to some of the viewers, I'm sure that we'll have 15 other tournaments planned to be on this, and then I'm sure that we can stipulate that you can't shop unless it's 5 or under or something like that. You know,
just forget about shopping.
Yeah.
That would be the deal. You know, no
well, I think they do those at the World Poker Tour events that are televised, right?
It takes away the drama.
Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Ooh, look at this, Rick. 2 pairs for both players, top 2 pair. Now, seat 9's going to lead right out with his top 2 pair. And seat 8's pretty. I like it too. But I mean, seat 8's going to go all in. He's going to get a quick call here, unless he thinks he's trapping him and he's going to just call.
These stacks are both short. The money's going to go in on this flop.
Absolutely.
Not on the show on the flop, but it's going to go in.
He's going to re-raise, and then I'm sure seat 9's going to probably come over the top here. I would.
918.
I mean, there's so little pot. The guy in seat 8 is, of course. They're both pot committed.
And the money goes in.
You got ace jack?
Yeah.
Nope.
He does.
And ace jack's going to take it down. You know, we saw another miracle hand the first half an hour of the show also, where pocket 9s in seat 1 led into a ragged flop that had been raised. Pocket jacks was in seat 2, came over the top all in. Pocket 9s called and spiked a 9 on the river.
I was there for that.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, if you've got an overpair, the guy with jacks in C2 raised big out of the blinds. Now, I understand it's a raggy flop. Okay, I'm sitting there with pocket 9s, I'm in first position. I bet now the guy comes over the top a lot. Do I think that guy's capable of doing that with ace king? I think I might be beat at that point, right? You know.
Well, the problem is with pocket 9, you're only about a coin flip with ace king, and then typically you're going to be facing a big overpair, and you're a gigantic dog there. So
well, it's not. It's a coin flip when all 5 cards are seen, but after the flop, you're a big favorite. But the flop had been seen. You know, the flop had been seen.
I think on that hand, that both of the players are getting pretty close to pot committed on the hand.
Okay.
So it ends up that you're.
I think that's what I was saying
when
too.
When the stacks are short, you're in these restricted buy games. A lot of times
you become pot committed.
But the
interesting thing about that hand, Rick, that I was thinking was that even though he's pot committed, if he really thinks the guy has an overpair, unless the fact that the guy is so committed that he would go all in with ace king. If he knows the guy has an overpair, I don't care if you're pot committed or not, he still doesn't have odds to draw to 2 outs. He should mark the hand. But I understand what you mean, that saying that the guy could go all in with ace king because he was pot committed anyways.
Yeah.
Right. You know. So it's a different. You know. Again, it's very difficult, as you can see. You've been back here a few times to somewhat follow the chip stacks and the amount that are bet. There's kind of been a rumor about how we might at some point get optical card readers that would automatically put the cards up, and that
Yeah.
might allow us to
would be
follow the
nice.
betting a lot easier. But it's just a little bit difficult with the lights and stuff to figure out exactly.
Yeah,
how
it's still
much.
it's from the perspective of, and I know your perspective. It's a little tricky because it's not quite the way for us. The way when we're playing at the table, we see the flop in a different location, and we see the players.
Grandkids are going to think you're a rebel. All right, this
From a
one's for
different
Jackson for
perspective.
sure.
I'm straddling for my kid. I haven't hit a hand yet, and every time I seem to get a decent starting hand, someone
Denny's
gets
got
a
ace
better
rag,
one,
and he's
so
going to muck it. I like it.
straddling.
He's 7 offsuit. The interesting thing about you, Rick, and I've been praising you on the telecast, is that you are kind of your style. I would describe it as really the best type of poker style, which is tight, and you're very tight but aggressive. Tight, aggressive, and you don't play a lot of hands, but when you do, you can sense weakness and you play them pretty strongly. A lot of times, I don't even see you limp in with ace suited from early position, like in a no-limit game.
I don't like it. I like limping with pairs, and I'll get away from the small pair and get away from the big raise.
Right.
I don't value suitedness that much unless I get in really cheap late position.
Right. So you probably would never limp in with like ace 4.
If the game feels real soft, I haven't played a hand, I might limp just to show that I'm willing to play some hands. I'll get away from a big raise. But it just doesn't. The difference between limit and no limit is that you're not going to be able to see if you flop a flush draw. You are not going to be able to pick off more than, let's say, one card.
Well, that's what I explained to some of the people when I was talking last night and over the course of the broadcast over the last almost month now, is that high-suited cards have a lot of value in limit, because if you pick up your draw, you're going to usually see your draw down to the end. Whereas low-suited connectors have value in no limit because of the implied odds that they bring on. I was explaining when we were doing the limit games, a low-suited connector in limit really doesn't have much value at all. You know what I mean? Like a 4-5 suited, people limping in with that from up front.
Well, yeah,
it's
I don't like it up front. I mean, I'm going to play it in back or half price in the blinds, but I need a lot of players.
Right.
One thing is it has value. The suited cards have value in no limit when you're very, very deep and your opponents are deep.
Right.
Where, and especially if it's a suited nut type hand, and you're hoping obviously to flop straights more than the flush.
Ooh, look at this. Denny's got pocket tens, and I don't know if he brought this in for a raise, Rick. We were talking. This is a dangerous flop for any overpair.
25.
So, and the question is Denny going to... He flat calls there, and again, it's a question of, is he just going to call the guy all the way down? Now, seat 4 had led with king 7. He has top pair.
I'm having trouble finding... Where is Denny on here?
Denny is seat 6 over here.
Oh, okay. That's on the right-hand side.
So he does have the best hand, but I question possibly the flat call there, Rick. And now a 9 comes in, and 8's going to be very scary. Now, is Denny going to check behind here? Look at, he checks. He checks to seat 2.
Denny needs to get more aggressive.
Do you think somebody would be on the...
He needs to get more aggressive early in the hand.
And now an ace is going to scare everyone, probably.
Yeah.
No, he's going to lead right into the ace. Maybe I can give him some credit there a little bit. The only part of, maybe the only problem here is that you would only get called down by a hand that would beat you, right, Rick? Maybe an 8 or an ace, right?
Well, it's not such bad. Like I said, I would have bet earlier in the hand.
Would you have raised the flop there, too?
Yeah.
Just to see what was going on,
Yeah. With the middle pairs, my play depends on how big my stacks are and how big my opponent's stacks are.
Right.
I mean, am I looking more for just a push early, or am I looking to flop sets and take down big stacks?
And look at Denny's chip stack. $500. Looks like he's been the big winner tonight as he chomps on the hamburger.
Oh, shucks.
Seat 7's got an ace-queen offsuit here. You can kind of see down here in the double cameras.
Right.
And Seat 8's got pocket 8s. There we go. We got that up. And then sometimes if you can look down here and see before she puts it up.
Flop my cards.
This is like multi-table.
Now again, ace queen's flopped a top. See, ace queen catching a lot of queens. Seat 7's going to push all in right away.
That's a good bet.
A small stack. Oh, he's pot committed anyway.
Right.
There's no reason to underbet the pot.
Yeah.
Deuce.
I don't like when you have a short stack. I don't like betting. Like if I have a deep stack, I tend to bet the size. If I have a pot that has a lot of draws, I'm going to bet the size of the pot. If it's the raggedy type rainbow flop, I'm going to tend to bet about 60-70% of the flop. But if I'm not that deep, where I won't even have enough to make, assuming I'm called, a pot size bet next round, now I'm thinking about overbetting the pot from the very beginning.
Do they want to show if we just muck?
Yeah, do they want? They like to see him.
Well,
anyway.
So they want to see him
Okay.
even if we're going to muck him.
Yeah, they'd like to.
Again, and we really are dealing with I don't know exactly why Paul Rowe is playing this level. He does play the low limit, no limit, restricted buying games a lot, and I see him in 6-12 Omaha a lot. But he has made a final table of a World Series main event, and he has an accomplished tournament record, and he's in seat 7. So we are dealing with one pretty good player here.
Omaha high?
I don't think so.
It's such a great game. It's so much better than high-low split.
75 of spades. I mean, it's a terrible starting game.
You only see it in tournaments or when the high rollers come to
Seat
town.
2's got a ace queen off.
Yeah, we do, actually, we don't do we do hold 'em in the tournament. Maybe in Legends I've done a pot limit once.
You're talking about pot limit Omaha High, right?
Yeah, the Bellagio did.
I think we actually might have a pot limit Omaha High tournament in Legends. I think we do. Yeah, and of course, Denny's saying the mini series of poker mirrors all the events of the World Series of Poker, so we do have it in there.
Yeah. 2 players.
So it looks like it's heads up between 2 and 4. 9-10 of diamonds and ace queen. No one's really picked up much of anything. C2's going to lead out, who was the original raiser.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely not. You know,
Get
it over with now, right?
Yeah. You can get away from a big raise.
Yeah.
Not the type of hand you generally are going to fire a second barrel, though.
Well, see, and I talk about a flat call, and this could be a couple of. Oh, is he going to raise? This could be for a couple of purposes. Now, if he flat calls and a blank comes on and it's checked, especially with the club, you've got to put a bet in, right, from back position here with 9-10 of diamonds. I would think. Now you've picked up an open-ended straight draw too, Rick. So if it's checked, I would definitely bet. Well, he's still going to lead though.
Now, what's the
Possibly representing ace-jack, a made flush, or an overpair. And he's played pretty tight the whole
players aren't
night.
going to want to play satellites, are they? That many, are they?
Danny Ira pushed
C2. Now look at this. He's going to come over the top with his open-ended straight draw and possibly representing a flush there too.
Why not start it?
Of course, ace queen. He's drawing to a queen that would give him a flush, and he has a couple overcards. Of course, he doesn't know that. And I think he might be committed all in, and he is.
Okay.
And he catches his. He catches the open-ended straight. And the problem with this move, Rick, with the guy in seat 4, is that he comes over the top, but seat 2 has no more chips left.
Right, although those chips, are they all yellow chips?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
He came over the top, but seat 2 was almost already pot committed with his overcards, right? That's why you have to watch your chip stack.
He essentially has to make it.
Right. So it's not a good move to put it. Can we? It's not necessarily a good move to put in like a bluff like that when someone's already pot committed where they're going to go in with a couple overcards.
Yeah, because
that's why this game is you got to watch your chip stacks.
The effective odds end up being
you know,
based on the amount of your opponent's stack.
So I mean, if you're very deep, I like that move as a big re-raise semi bluff, but not in that case. You know. Very, very.
Ira does have a little more of an aggressive, because I play with him, but I don't get to see as much of his aggressive style.
Look, Denny's picked up ace, king, big slick, suited on the button.
Please put in some money before the flop.
How about re-raise here, Denny?
Yes.
63.
What's he facing? A $16, $20 raise in front of him? Oh, he can't.
Seat 5 has got king 7 offsuit. Yeah, he did re-raise, Denny.
Okay.
He did re-raise. I like it, Denny. I like it. I like the move. I'm going to give him a little hand for that. Again, I mean, my only problem with him before was that he had that guy raise him. Right after you check raised that guy with pocket 9s, he raised on the button. Excuse me, he raised on the cutoff, and Denny flat called with pocket 10s on the button against that guy who's definitely been making some moves where he just lays down a hand to a re-raise, right?
And Denny was relatively short there. If he's extremely deep, it's not such a horrible play.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary to be called by deep chips. If you're deep and you know, in no limit, flat calls by tough players. I'm not saying Denny's a tough player, but can be pretty scary.
Yeah, because they might be trapping you as a monster.
There's a lot more, call the flop, bluff the turn type plays with position and no limit than there is in limit.
Look, Denny's got King Jack off suit here.
I don't know whether to call or raise.
And C9's got pocket fives. And Dave Tuckman and I talk about how I would like to see pocket fives maybe just, well, it is just limped. Oh, he's just going to flat call. And then if he hits a set, he's got huge implied odds. Don't try to put in a re-raise with pocket fives out of position.
3 players.
You only have to put in 15 more.
Oh, top 2, Denny. Don't slow play. Right, Rick? Don't slow play.
I don't, not with this flop.
No, not with this flop. Come over the top, buddy.
And the 5 comes out.
5's come out. Go over the top. And I think he said make it 300. Love it. I love it. Again, Rick, C9's making a move. You know, it might be a little too much.
Well, he'll get away from it, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But
it might be a little bit too much, you think?
He bet about, what did he bet? About 30? C9? Very hard to
Couldn't tell. Yeah.
I think Denny might have he might have come over a little too strong.
Yeah.
For $189, and the whole time I was there, I thought.
And C9's call with the 5s isn't bad. I mean, I think he calls 15 more before the flop.
Right. Implied
he had about 150, so he's in a situation where he flops a set. He can make about 10. If he gets action, he's going to make about 10 times the amount he has to commit to the pot.
Right. And I was talking about that actually.
That's my rule of thumb.
I read that, and I was talking about that actually before you came in the booth. And Denny had actually made a call when that rule didn't apply. He couldn't have made 10 times the bet. And I think it's a good guideline to go by, kind of equaling out the odds of the set. And then,
Now, sometimes if you're calling behind a weak player with position who you can take away on his misses, you don't need that. But that isn't necessarily the case. So people tend to stick around in these games a little more.
Oh, look at
top
this.
2 for 5.
No, full house for 5. Although five's not in the hand, though, I don't think.
Oh,
no.
His graphic is up.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens.
All right.
Yeah. Because you can see right there he doesn't have cards.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So now you can come back and post up on 2+2
well,
a little bit.
I've already defended. I've kind of known that it's not that easy. To do this.
Right.
There are 2 players.
Without actually having to try to do it.
Yeah, and of course, when you try to figure out the cards, it's very difficult to figure out the bets too while you're talking and stuff. So Ace 5's got just the gut shot.
30.
And he's going to still bet into it, though. And we talked about Seat 1 being a good player. Maybe he's observed the fact that Seat 9's been making a bunch of plays here. But he picks up the gut shot, though, right here. Rick on the river.
You wouldn't have to squint so badly to take those sunglasses off.
That's a good point.
See the card.
So now
it'll be interesting to see how much Seat 9 bets here.
I think the pot's about $100 right now.
50.
He's going to bet 50, and I don't think he's going to... I don't know if he's going to be able to get a call. The guy did call on the turn, so maybe he thought he was going to shut down on the river. You maybe had the right read on him. I don't know if he thinks he was betting into a gut shot, but if he called on the turn, he might call on the river here, too, unless, like I said, he was thinking maybe he could bluff him out at the end.
He might think he's getting milked. I don't know.
Yeah. And he led all the way with a gut shot, and he caught it on the river.
165.
One of the other things that I talked about, I mean, not necessarily when your head's up, Rick, is that I see people calling with gut shots on a 2-suited board when it seems as though somebody else is on a flush draw, and they don't realize that one of their gut shot outs is out the door, and you have to, adjust to that.
And then you die on redraws also.
Right, so...
yeah.
And people don't quite understand that.
I mean, you can make that...
A gut shot can be beat here by a lot of things, too. I'm saying heads up, there's a full house on the board, there's 3 spades. I mean, if the deuce of spades had come, I know the guy is, he's betting into a gut shot. If the deuce of spades has come, then what is he going to do? He can't really bet it. I mean, he can bet it to try to...
He can bet it because his stack isn't that deep. He just doesn't have that much at risk.
It's not even a question.
Again, I wasn't taking into account his chip stack, but I'm talking about the theory of it, though. You know what I mean? Drawing to... With 3 spades, it's really drawing to the non-spaded 2s. You know what I mean? Really, to put himself in a situation where he could commit all his chips or think he has the best hand.
I liked it.
I mean, obviously, everybody's a rookie at no limit. I mean,
right, because it's only been going on for 2 years.
Of the players in Los Angeles, even the players who are playing fairly big, are relatively inexperienced. So
people don't realize that the no-limit cash games have only been spread, even at this casino, for less than 2 years, right?
Right.
I mean, I remember when this casino used to have a wall where this table is. It used to be part of the restaurant.
I remember when we had like essentially one table, maybe two, and Dan Harrington actually came in. He was doing some kind of film shoot, and he kind of circled the table and finally took a seat and played with us. And a couple people said, "Aren't you Dan Harrington?" And he goes, "No." And finally, he said hi to Robert Turner and admitted to it. So we all got to play with Dan Harrington, $100.
Oh, really? But again, like you said, it's not like people with experience with Hold'em. I mean, the people who have had the most experience with No Limit Hold'em are people like Doyle Brunson who've been playing it in the back room of their house, right, for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's only been really spread as like a game in brick and mortar casinos for a few years at most.
Yeah, even at the highest levels, I mean, you're getting limit, but in these medium-sized games, you're just getting a tremendous amount of no-limit action. Tonight, I think, first hour, I came into work at 2, and in my first hour of work, I put down 5 games. We got up to 13 games, whereas where I think we are right now.
So, we're looking at maybe your theory here. The guy limped in with pocket fours. He's got a raise from ace-king. Could he make 10 times his money? I think the raise was to 30. So if the guy has $300 in front of him, again, he might be able to think that he can outplay the guy if he thinks he's coming in with a raise with a couple of high cards too, right? He is out of position.
Yeah, obviously if you're going to call with the pocket,
he's going to re-raise.
He's going to re-raise. That's a little dangerous out of position, but he might have a feel for this guy.
Now, I would think if I have position with ace king.
Oh, you never know. Obviously.
The question is, do you flat call if you come over the top? Do you muck? Those are the 3 options, right?
Well, I don't think you muck.
No, you don't. I don't think you muck.
That's an option for me. Anyway,
I don't even think flat calling. I think I'd pop it up again. I mean, that's just my opinion. Again, you probably are taking in chip stacks a lot more.
He's not that deep. Yeah. There's already money in there. And I don't think going all in is that bad.
It looks like he's just going to flat call. Because if he does go all in, of course, we can see. I'm sure pocket fours would muck. Well, I don't. I mean, I don't know that because he doesn't have that much left.
Yeah, it's a big stack against a very small stack.
Now let's see if force pushes.
Yes, I would love service.
Or if maybe he tries to, check raise all in as a trap. But the guy is, doesn't have that many chips left in suit 2, so.
I think when you're acting first with the bigger stack, you put in the money.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to make it. He's going to put them all in. He's going to bet 200. So he's not even going to. This is some pretty solid play from seat 1 all around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, This is actually probably a little tougher than average table, I'd say.
Of course, those of you just joining us, we're here live at the bike. We stream live cash games every Wednesday through Saturday from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. My name is Bart Hansen, and I have a special guest in the booth, Rick Nebbioli, and we had started the broadcast off tonight with a college tournament that we got to see about 20 minutes of play on. When it got down to the final table, we decided to chop it 10 ways. And Rick actually quickly put together a $200 restricted buy and no limit game right after that, and it's been pretty fun. Rick, I know that sometimes you go home and watch the webcast, and I can only really remember one night which was not interesting to people that I ask and people that post on 2+2, and that was a Wednesday night with Rick and Denny. They said it was horrible. Just one night, though. I mean, we've done over 15 broadcasts or something like that.
Considering we're doing this live, it's not edited. For the most part, there's been a lot of fun shows.
Yeah.
I mean, we're learning an awful lot, and I get a kick out of the reactions, and I got a kick out of last week's reactions, of course, to we had the $200 limit game on Saturday night, and we'll talk about that a little later.
So we got pocket queens against ace jack suited here.
I don't think ace jack is going to put much in here.
No. And Denny, Rick, look at this. We can read some of this stuff. And talking about the quote is that a big surprise that a type player would be beating this game. This is posted by Puck and Poker. The blinds are 3-5. How big are the raises these players are making before the flop? It really matters. And then Puck and Poker says, dealer's a maniac and it's feeding Denny's cards. That's the only explanation for him winning.
Yeah. Most people come in, when they do raise, most people tend to come in for either 15 or 20. I tend to come in 15 early and 20 late.
Well, Denny made a questionable raise. He had pocket kings and he raised to 50, which was a little bit weird, you know. It was for this game. You know,
I'm sort of try to keep my game plan simple. I keep my raises, the size of my raises and bets relatively constant.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to bet draws and do different things with different hands, but my bets and raises are going to be relatively constant.
Look at that pyramid of chips, $600. You know, that's really a great night in this restricted buy-in game if you can go up $400, right? You know.
Yeah, and the other thing is, reality is, I mean, I'm sure Denny has to go home to his wife, but when you get deep in this is a restricted buy-in game. If you're in a good game and you get deep, and I've written a little bit about this, you want to glue yourself to the chair. I mean, in a limit game, there's no reason to play all night. If you're stuck, the game's not only average. Go home, it'll be there tomorrow. But if you're deep against opponents who don't play as well as you, those chips beyond the restricted buy are so precious. And I know I have played 14, 15-hour sessions in these games and had some incredible wins because I got deep and I had opponents who were deep who I felt I could get my money in with a big advantage.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the way it worked out.
What do you think about the theories of just, I mean, you like to, obviously you're not going to gamble it up with another big chip stack, right? If you have like a slight edge or you don't think that you're a big favorite in the hand.
Well,
so you always have to be aware of how many chips someone has, right?
I mean, obviously I want to believe I'm the favorite versus the range of hands, but I'm very willing to if I have a lot of time to play, which is what I like to have when I play this game. I'm going to gamble early. I'm not afraid to rebuy and put in a few buys.
To build up your stock,
okay,
right.
But once I get in a position where let's say I have 800 or 900 in chips, and the game's been going, so there are other people now who have, let's say, 1,000 in deep, and I feel like there's a lot of players I feel I can get my money in where, I have a made hand and they're drawing, they're willing to call with a draw on the turn, their entire stack.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the situation I'm waiting for, rather than a situation where I'm guessing, or it might be a coin flip, or I'm only a small favorite. Why risk those chips? Because I cannot replenish them.
So if you're down to, let's say you're down to like $100 in this game, and you haven't rebought back up to $300, and say someone brings in a raise for 30, and you've got pocket eights, you might come over the top all in.
Oh yeah,
like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just to pick up it, and if they call, it's a coin flip, and you're gambling it up a bit.
And the other thing is, because of the rebuy rules, you cannot add to your stack unless you have 100 or below.
Right.
And then of course you can bring your stack up to 300.
Right.
You don't want to be in a situation where you finish a hand leaving your stack at 110.
Yeah.
Then get dealt pocket aces.
Right. Check, and then ace is going to come here for C3 on the turn. But he checked the. No, excuse me, he didn't check the ace. I thought C2 checked into him, and he's got a he's got a straight draw. But again, Danny, there's 3 hearts out there and a bunch of overcards, and I couldn't imagine him possibly calling here.
No, I'm not in hand. You guys are heads up. I'm not from the get-go.
I mean, again, we talk about how maybe you can draw for a couple outs if you think someone's going to go broke, but if you catch your queen, I mean, you don't know that that's the best hand,
Not a good hand you want to go to.
Looks like we got about 1 hour left here. We've been with you for 3 hours, and like I said, I'm sure that there's a lot more to come in the way of maybe streaming some tournament action.
Is it true? The rumor I've heard is that we have clips. We're about to have
archived clips.
Archived clips available.
I heard that was in the next few days or something like that. Everyone's not.
Those sound like they're going to be. I have a feeling they're going to be enormous.
Yeah.
In terms of,
well, we've seen huge hands, we really have. And
I'm thinking enormous in terms of how much space it'll take on. But the hard disks are cheap these days. I have like 4 of them. I have 4 of them.
It's the cheapest part of the computer these days, right? Used to be the most expensive part back in the day, right?
Yeah.
A hard drive.
Yeah, there's no reason not to have 2 of them and.
He always wears them on his head.
An external to back up your precious data.
No, he never did. Never did. He had
How many fingers am I holding up now?
Never had them on.
It was funny. I was having a discussion with someone about. I mean, usually, unless you're, I guess you're into a lot of.
You're really holding up 10.
memory, like a RAM. Oh, actually, I'm looking here and I'm seeing someone mention that Paul Rowe finished 8th in the 1999 World Series of Poker, where Noel Furlong took out Alan Goring and how do you pronounce that last name?
Alan Goring.
Goring and had Greg Parkinson. Okay, so he finished 8th in the 1999 World Series of Poker, seat 7 there, Paul Rowe.
So I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you for that information, Clayton N.
Then I wouldn't be blind.
25.
I'd only be blind.
Pocket Kings, seat 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. You can look
You
down
look down
on the,
and you can kind of look
over
up
here
at
to the
Evelyn
right.
while she puts it up, yeah.
This is like the ultimate multi-tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, 29-year-old.
Multi-monitoring.
So 25, he's going to get a flat call from pocket 4s in seat 3, and again, it's kind of tough right now to see the chip stacks and see if he's got odds to call. Seat 3 calls with pocket 4s. So it's on seat 4. He's got ace-9 suited, and he calls too, Denny.
That's not so bad.
And did I call you Denny? I'm sorry, Rick.
That's all right, Brad.
I was looking at it because we got Denny up there because we can. I guess we can do that with people's names, but it might be a little bit confusing if they don't know where. Obviously, if you put someone's name where the seat number is, but everyone knows who Denny is, right? So.
Right. Well, they've heard him enough, that's for sure.
Neighbor Michael Jackson. Serious.
So we were 5 players, 4-8 suited calls, and seat 7. Who's in the small blind there, Rick?
Well,
How
much money did the Kings put in?
And look at that, Paul Rowe. Kings raised to 25 from this position. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And Paul Rowe called with 4-8 suited, maybe possibly thinking that he was going to be able to really.
Well, I don't like that call.
No, I don't either.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah. I don't quite get that, but. And look at this, set of 4s were flopped by seat 3. And I was going to say, Kings bets, now, three re-raises. And Dave Tuckman and I were talking a lot about this. Now, there was a raise. But with this type of flop, I was going to say, if let's say you had limped in with Kings and had a bunch of limpers because you were going for re-raise and it didn't happen, you get away from this flop.
Yeah, exactly. You have nothing. You have
now, you still might try to get away from the flop. It's a kind of a dangerous flop with many people out there. What do you think the guy's going over the top of with you? Or maybe a flush draw. The funny thing is seat 4's got the ace-high flush draw, and I don't know if he's still in the hand.
And I'll be running over you.
I think he is. The question is, does he have odds to call? It looks like he. Of course, here's the problem: is what the hell did he re-raise to? Because we can't tell. Maybe 200 or 300. Looks like Kings bet about 75, and looks like it's a re-raise to about 300, which means the pot's somewhere around 500 now, and that's the best I can do off the top of my head.
Yeah,
and King's saying he's got a call.
The Kings are absolutely pot stuck on it.
Yeah. They're drawn to a couple Kings here, which are live. We haven't seen them come out yet, so. Yeah. Or we could have. Can we have a split pot with a straight on board? No, it doesn't come. We could have a split pot.
The Kings are incredibly deep, and he's facing deep. With that kind of board, he can get away from it.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Right.
But when he's not going to get away from it when he can replenish his chips.
Right.
And it's not crushing. It's not a crushing blow to lose. To go all in.
That's why there's a big difference, and I'm sure people realize. I was going to say, people realize now the huge difference between this game and the $500 minimum game.
Yeah,
when there's different things that you have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the $500 minimum game, the blinds are approximately twice as big.
Yeah.
But the reality is the game, I would say the game plays 6 to 8 times bigger.
Right.
Sometimes, sometimes more than that, but it's a substantial step up. But it's a great game.
Right. Now the thing is that like you said, Kings has like $1,500 in front of him, and he raised to 40, and he got 4 callers behind him, and he bets that flop, and someone comes over the top 300. You got to use your poker sense and start thinking, am I going to commit all my chips with one pair, which is all I have?
Assuming the person who came over the top is equally deep.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw
that's where it comes into. If it's deep against deep, you've got to be a very good hand reader, and you have to know the patterns of you. You have to be paying a lot of attention to how your players play.
Now Denny has ace queen offsuit, and he just limped in. I probably from that position would have put in a raise there, Rick.
Yes, I like raising when the button's on my left.
Right. Just to try to buy the button, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you can limp in with ace queen offsuit from up front, and it's going to get checked around. No one takes any initiative. Let's see if somebody tries to jump on this. C2's flop, turns a pair here.
I don't like lumping with ace queen. I'll do it up front.
I like to limp, and if I take a lot of heat from it, I'll fold too.
Yeah,
that
would be great. But
I don't really put a lot of value to ace queen and offsuit from up front.
But I don't mind putting in a small raise,
Yeah.
my normal raise with that, and if I get, I'll lay down against a reasonable player to a big re-raise.
Why is Denny calling? Why is Denny flat calling?
I don't.
Well, maybe he's got an inside straight draw. Maybe he figures his ace or queen could be good.
And how deep is the stack he's calling? He can.
Seat 3. Pretty deep stack.
If he catches, he has a chance to make a little money there. That's not so. He didn't have to call very much.
Right. So of course we're always trying to deal with. It always depends on not necessarily the situation, but how deep the chip stacks are too.
Yeah.
And Rick, as you can see, when we have card graphics on the screen, and then we're like, oh, this situation dictates where we know where we should know how deep the chip stack is, and then you can't see it because of our graphics. It's difficult for us. In the booth to do that. So that's why
for all
sometimes...
you multi-tablers out there, there are right now, sort of within my little range of vision, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors. And then off to the right, there's 10 there. 2 more. So we got about 17 monitors for your multi-table players.
I have information on Paul Rowe now in front of me. He says he actually has a bracelet. 1998 Omaha High World Series of Poker. So he's got a bracelet. I didn't know that he had won one.
It's not wearing it, though.
48 years playing poker. He's from Cincinnati. And,
25.
So, there you go.
An experienced player. Well, it's nice, 5 years ago, I used to be one of the younger players when I played poker. Now I'm only got a little bit older. I'm 50 years old now, but God, I play these games and
especially the no-limit games, right?
90% of the time, I'm like the grizzled veteran at the table. It's really weird.
Check light.
I don't really see much here. Much of anything here.
Where you acting first, you sort of want to maybe take a little stab with a 2/3 size bet.
If I ever get 3 6s, that's
And some of the things that I'm shooting around as that I've gotten from suggestions about how to improve the show, and people have to understand we're really only in our beta testing periods. It's possibly having somebody here that keeps track of the bets. Maybe that's their whole job, and maybe we can get some sort of something up on the screen that says what the bet amounts are.
Well,
the chip stacks.
there's a couple things we could do. Part of the conditions of playing would be, it's already sort of the rules of no limit. You must keep your stacks clean and your chips in plain view, but make that an absolute requirement. That'll help with stack sizes. And then when you have a mixture of chips, you might have a little help from the floor in terms of identifying stacks, and maybe have that information. Maybe we add another screen in here.
Right.
And then,
of course, all this stuff is labor intensive.
I mentioned that yesterday. Obviously, this costs money.
Right.
Every person you add, we all do have to get paid.
Right.
And but perhaps maybe they wouldn't want to wear those McDonald's-style drive-through headphones, or microphones. But maybe they could, routinely announce the size of the bets, and that would be, a condition of the play, very clearly.
Well, Brian, the dealer, does that a lot. He does a really good job with that.
He does a good job with that.
People have to understand that the dealers, when they're just doing normal dealing in cash games, they don't necessarily call the entire game, so it's kind of difficult for them to change gears and do it every time.
This is a different type of thing, so you probably need a different procedure and a different. You have to set it up just a little differently, because in no limit, stack size is everything, bet size is everything.
So we got Queen's going to be checked around twice. Now we let the King pretty much take down the best hand. Queen's seat 7 never bet the board even on the turn.
Yeah, especially with put in a small bet there at some point. No one else is showing any aggression. You're acting first. You got first. He wasn't acting first, but they're checking to you.
No, if the flop is checked, no one's going to usually check the ace, I guess, unless you're Denny from the back. Yeah. But besides, you would got to think that your Queen's probably the best hand. So I don't know why would you check again.
The big thing is if you put a bet in, a reasonable size bet, maybe 2/3, like a bet 2/3 of the pot type range. Now with the second second pair, you face a credible player comes over the top of you. Don't bullet fold, but think about it a little bit. But you generally are going to fold.
Right.
Let's say I'm holding ace king of hearts and she flops an ace of hearts.
So Denny's just kind of been sitting back, increasing his chips. Only playing pretty good hands.
I think he wants to show off for the.
Oh, he's got an ace jack offsuit here, Rick. Now in his position, in kind of mid to early position, what would you like to do with this? Would you put a small raise in, 15? Or would you limp?
Well,
now you got a limper in front of you now, too.
Well, I don't like limping after limpers with this hand. This hand is in trouble. This hand just doesn't flop enough, make enough big flops.
Most people that I've told that to say, well, you should have gone for what's called a jelly roll. Go ahead and push it all in.
So I'll come in as an open. I'll open raise with ace jack with no one in front of me from middle. I don't know about up front, but I don't like calling after callers. It just doesn't make money.
Yeah, right. So there's six-way action here.
Yeah.
Now, Jack Queen has got the best hand, it looks like, here in seat 4. And you would expect a lead out here. I imagine he's going to lead. $25.
That's a nice bet into about a 30. It was about a $30 pot.
Well, there were 6 limpers, so yeah.
Pot size bet.
Yeah.
I might bet just a little less because it's actually connected.
Connected in a little bit, maybe a Jack 10 or something like that,
That was just, something I was reading from people that were a little more experienced than me. Some people have the philosophy of betting constant size bets, but they'll vary depending on the texture of the flop.
Mm-hmm.
A raggedy flop, they tend to bet somewhat less. A draw-intensive flop, if it's two suited and sort of connected in the middle, they'll tend to bet the flop, and that includes when they might bet draws, they might bet made hands, but.
The guy in seat 4, Rick, don't you think that looks like Max Shapiro a little bit?
Oh, no, I've seen Max Shapiro. That doesn't, no.
No?
No. Oh. I don't know if Ira will like that.
We had a David Schwimmer lookalike before, and
I have great eyesight. It's looking down, that light gets right
there was
here.
another guy that looked like somebody before, I don't remember. Oh, a TJ Cloutier lookalike, too, before at the beginning.
Oh, not too many of those.
I know.
Absolutely. Pull us down a little more.
I need to have
not much of anything here. C2 limped in with gap suited connector on the button. Flop looks like it's a Queen 10 4 jack. C3 is going to bet. He's got a overcard and an open-ended straight draw. And, he takes the pot down. One of some of the advanced concepts of Hold'em, comes is that if in a small plot, if a flop is checked and a 4th Street card is a blank, from up front you might just want to put a bet in with absolutely anything to take the pot down. You know what I mean?
Well, the advantage of being up front is, in a sense, is you have first strike capability.
Right.
You have the first chance to take a stab at the pot, and if you have a sense that people have missed, it's going to cost you less. As opposed to coming in later, you might have think the other guy just is taking a stab at it, but you have to be pretty confident to come over the top of him.
Right.
So it's not always a disadvantage to be acting before other players, especially in let's say, a 2- and 3-way pot.
Uh-huh. The little pink chips that people see are 50-cent little tokes. I don't even know if you've ever actually covered that before. The yellows are 5, the whitish blue ones are 1s, and if you see a purple, it's 25, but normally that's down on the table at this game, but at the 500 game, it's prevalent.
Wow.
So we got a Queen 10-6 rainbow flop, and doesn't look like anybody's got a Queen. Someone does have a King 10, seat 2.
Yes.
It's in the button. And he checks it from the cutoff there. And
boy, I would bet
I would too. And then, of course, now an overcard comes, and no one still has anything, but I got to think that with the King 10, I would have bet from second pair, if it's checked to you from out back with your overcard kicker, is not that bad of a hand there, Rick.
Yeah,
you probably could get somebody from up front with a Queen with a weak kicker off the hand.
You're so often going to get better hands to fold or hands you want to fold, and
now he bets.
Once again,
now he bets when the spade comes. Well, of course he has 2 spades though too, so he's actually on a royal flush draw as well.
Yeah. So, but the time to bet was
on the flop.
Yeah.
Last man standing.
Well,
cool.
You see people play, a bit weak at these at these tables. And, you know, it's the same thing that happens sometimes when you see someone do a short buy at the big game and come in for $500 minimum. You can pick them out right away when they think, like, well, they're only taking one shot and they really don't have a bankroll to play the game. Right. They just play kind of tight, scared, tight, weak. And you really shouldn't play up to a game that's not within your bankroll, because if a game affects your play because it's playing too big, you have no business being in it. And I don't mean that in any type of crude way, but it's just you don't want the action to affect your play. I mean, if there are a bunch of gamblers in there, you know, you should be able to afford that game, and that probably might be something that you would like, because it's going to be profitable for you in the long run, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's how much to buy in for in the unrestricted buy-in games. It's well, I read some nice things on the 2+2 forum. One gentleman said, what you want to do is match up well against the worst players. If you have two superstars who are deep and two nits who don't have much money, but two guys who you figure to make money from who are in the middle, you want to match up. You want to have the money. You want to match up with their money.
Mm-hmm. Now C4 just put a raise in here with pocket 10s on the button. It's gonna fold. You know, one of the other moves that I really hated, Rick, when you were on the table was that C2 had pocket kings. And he was in the cutoff, and everyone was out, and he limped on the cutoff with pocket kings.
Yeah, I
mean, you know,
that's just, you know, sure, if you raise, a lot of times you're just going to pick up the blinds, but if you want to make real money with the hand, you know, people aren't going to be fooled by the limp. And you have to be able, obviously you're going to be able to get away from the hand, but you have to build a pot. To make money, you need to build a pot.
Right.
And
you know, all it's doing is making you're vulnerable to a flop that's going to come all raggedy, and the people in the blinds could have almost anything, or they could have anything, you know, if you're not raising.
I mean, the big mistake is to keep the pot small and then get married when you're getting crushed.
Now this guy picks up pocket queens here, Rick, and Denny's got pocket 5s in the small blind. Now he's raising to 20, and Denny calls, and going by your theory,
I don't think that's a bad call.
Yeah, it's not a bad call.
Bad call at all.
Right.
No.
If he can flop a 5,
both players are deep.
Yeah.
You know.
See if he can get a set here. Oh,
no,
yes, he does.
Yes,
but the king comes, and it might slow a little bit of play down here. Let's see if Denny leads out. He's going to lead right out.
Please lead. Yes.
He's got 25. Now the only reason why I wouldn't lead here is because he's led every time when he's had a good hand, and I don't know if people think he might be capable of bluffing. I may have put in maybe a check raise there, but that's always talking about mixing up play. And the queens are going to quickly lay down. Now the guy in seat 8, again, he's chasing. Looks like a gut shot straight draw here. You know,
but he's not deep enough to make money on it. That's the problem with his chase. See, deep against deep, he can.
Looks like it's 100 or 75. I can't quite tell.
Now he has no business calling. Nope. Yeah, Denny.
The thing that hurt Denny there was the king came.
Right.
You know, if the king hadn't come, he would.
But he doesn't know what he's up against,
right.
so it's just not that bad leading out. Now, in the case of the gut shot, I think it was the flop call might have been marginal.
Yeah.
And if he hits, he's probably going to pick up.
It looks like he only has about $180 there, or whatever the pot was too. You know.
Now the turn follow through comes. It's a much bigger bet. He just forget about it. Forget about it.
And again, I mean, I'm not saying that you always take this into account, but the fact that there were 2 hearts out on the board, and there was a guy behind him to act, might mean that there is a possibility of a flush out there. Like I said, I'm not saying that you never chase a gut shot when there's 2 suited cards, but it's just something else to reduce your odds down by a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, if you make it, you're still vulnerable to redraws. But if you're a good card reader, a lot of times you can put a player on hand other than the flush draw.
Right.
So against multiple opponents, it's
Why
much
was your
more
standard raise last time 75?
more of a problem.
No, a standard raise last time was like $20.
I made it 90.
All right.
Now, if the guy had pocket aces there, Denny could have won a very, very big pot.
Denny,
and I don't know if he's that type of guy's capable of getting away from it. You know what I mean? Getting away from that hand.
I mean, when you flop set, you want your opponents to have
huge
overpairs to the board or top pair, top kicker. Or
like I said, it's just it's too bad that happened. Look at this ace king against ace queen. Remember, seat 1 we've complimented a lot of some great play. He's going to take a stab at it from up front here. Denny folded king 5 offsuit here, Rick. We can look him back. Of course, he has no business calling that for a raise, though, on the button. King 5 offsuit. Yep, he's going to take a stab right at it. It's as if he can see the cards, Rick. This guy's been playing pretty well all night. And seat 4, you know, tough to.
Hey, you put seat 4 on the spot, and
Yeah.
you're not risking that much. You have a big. How? I can't see how deep seat 4 was deep for 4. I think he's still pretty deep.
Yeah, he's got about 3 or 4. I was going to say is that, you know, if you want to get down to the levels of it, he can raise it up, and now ace queen's probably going to have to fold. And then if you want to go another level, you could go all in, but it's, you know, now he's pretty chip committed, though. That's what we talk about, these restricted buying games. If he were to go over the top all again, you might even see seat 4 call with an ace king, right? According to what the pot odds are.
I don't see how seat 1 can take any heat now.
Right.
I mean, he knows that all the chips are going in.
Right, exactly.
That's
what
position.
I mean, like, and that's and that's the thing, you know. It's like you gotta really pay attention to the chip stack here.
He's waiting for the blinds to go.
Because the guy's almost up.
He has to.
Of course, like I said, we can see some fancy play, Rick, if we were at a 500 game and both guys were 10,000 deep. Maybe he would come back over the top again, right? You know what I mean?
Well, it's when you're that deep, it's harder. It takes a lot more guts to make the plays. I mean,
you can only have one.
So I think the point that we're trying to make is that, I think there's a big difference between restricted buy-in play, no-limit cash play, and unlimited buy-in, no-limit cash play. They're almost like two different games.
Yeah,
you know?
well, this game, keep in mind, was...
remember what that one was?
It started as...
We know, Denny. We know you had King 5.
This particular game was the must-move game. We had 3 other games going, and we quickly, after this 10-way deal, we quickly... Everyone agreed that they would be happy to go on live at Bike, and we moved the game so the stacks weren't that deep. Now, if you get a restricted buy-in game that's been going all night, which they often do, it starts to look like a unrestricted buy-in game, and it becomes an entirely different animal.
Just looking over some more information about Paul Rowe. He actually won 1998. The tournament was Omaha 8 or better, and he beat Miami John Cernuto, who was kind of the best Omaha high-low player, tournament player. Always up there in the points, card player points for an Omaha high-low. A couple people have flopped top pair. 3 people have flopped top pair. King 7, Queen 7, 5. And no one's going to bet? Oh, okay, there we go. 15 from seat 3. And now seat 4. The question now, what do you do with this kind of top pair with a good kicker? He's going to raise. He's going to raise? Yeah, he's going to raise.
And they muck it?
It's like 15 raises to 45. And seat 8. No, if he was even in the hand, maybe not.
Well, Ira's got a little more game than I thought. You know, now I get to see his whole card.
It's always nice, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're Queen 7 here, I mean, again, it was a limped pot. So it's so difficult to think maybe someone's got 6, 7.
Yeah. That's not.
You could have
that's
a
not
set.
a hand I like because it just doesn't flop big hands or make big hands. I mean, maybe when you're playing shallow, I'll play it in back, but I don't like playing deep with a hand like that.
Not only do I mean, you know, you talk about ace rag suited playing. Oh yeah, it has its flush possibilities, but the thing is that, you know, these people that play up and down offsuit cards like a Queen 3 offsuit, that hand has absolutely no value, Rick, right? Like whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think so.
Yeah, you know,
except, you know, steal from the button.
Even like a Queen 7 offsuit, or even a King 7 offsuit.
Yeah,
it's just,
well,
you know,
these aren't hands in my range of vision.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other ways to mix up your play. I mean, you want to mix up your play, you put in a little raise with 4 or 5 suited, in back, and but that has a chance of making something. But God, Queen 7 is not going to make a hand that makes you money.
Right.
You're just going to spew chips with a hand like that.
Because there's just so much stuff you get caught up in, you know. Even if you flop a 7 with
well,
rags, you still
I don't have any personal experience with getting caught up in hands with Queen 7.
Well, neither do I, but...
Yeah. Something. Okay.
Now I'm trying to figure out, again, all these cards, see if anyone has a pair. Oh, King 5's got a pair. Denny's got Queen Jack, so he's got a gut shot straight draw.
This isn't such a bad bet if he can...
25.
Seat 4 here? 4-8. He has a gut shot. 7 to the straight. No one's really showing
Well,
any
okay,
type of strength.
yeah, I was thinking if they checked to
Denny, you
Denny,
could
boy,
put a
that would
bet
have been
in.
a nice little bet there.
Yeah. Someone beat him to it, though.
Yeah. He loses the first strike.
He's going to take it down.
Although, boy, that wasn't. The problem is in this case was the pot isn't that big, so even though Ira is deep in seat 4, let's say Denny tries to take one off. There's no guarantee he's going to get paid off at all on the river. I mean, he doesn't know what seat 4 has, but the likelihood is that he's not going to get paid off by making it. So when you go for an inside straight draw or whatever, you want to try to visualize a situation where you're likely to get paid off.
You know, it's funny, Rick, I'm reading another post here. It says, am I the only one who would muck the ace-jack offsuit after early limpers? And my answer to that question is no, I would in certain situations. What about you, Rick?
What am I looking at?
Am I the only one who would muck the ace-jack after early limpers?
Maybe with that microphone, my cards
Well,
are so
I am.
You are going to limp?
Yeah,
You're going to muck it?
I don't like.
Okay.
I don't like that weak ace type hand after limpers. I hate it.
Yeah.
I despise that. I mean, if I have a couple weak players who limp late with an ace jack, I might come over and pound them a little bit. Of course, in limit, I'm in limit. I'm a pounder. I'm more of a trapper and no limit. In limit, I'm a pounder.
Yeah, but Rick, you're going to muck usually ace-jack offsuit when an early position raiser is a tough raiser, like someone like me. Unless you try to 3-bet me, Rick. But I don't,
well, yeah, I mean, if you raise early, I'm talking about like the 20-40.
Yeah.
Unless I feel like I'm just been beaten on you, I can beat up some more. But against a strong early raiser,
ace-jack
offsuit fails the ace-queen.
Yeah.
Some people in L.A.
have
a different vision. But
Players do that, you know, they push all in with an $8 pot. It's like, are you insane?
Speaking of that, now seat 3, who's the big blind, has ace-jack suited, and seat 9 has ace-jack offsuit.
Okay, we're looking at the
whole cams or
the
either or.
Whole cams. That's my vision isn't quite good enough to see the whole cams.
Well, that's why I get my glasses there too.
Yeah,
and I'm the one that cheated and staying closest to the whole cameras.
Okay.
So we got king 10 suited, ace jack suited, ace jack offsuit. Now this could be a game of position if nothing flops here, and nothing really has flopped for anyone. So it's a check bet, classic case of why position makes a big difference in this game.
And 2 and 3 really didn't have a nice
draw or anything like that. Yeah.
You
know, obviously we talk about Texas Hold'em being a very positional game. That was a great example of it. Just put that little pot there.
In limit, you can make you see people on the button making steal raises, and you can, if you sense he's making a steal raise, you can check raise with nothing.
Right.
Let's say if you're in the blind, especially with that ragged flop.
Well, you can call and then check raise with a raggy flop. With almost anything, right? Because chances are that, especially if they're making a raise from out back, they have a weaker starting hand, and the chances that they have an overpair are very, very slim anyway.
In limit, there's a class of player who, if check 2 on the button, they're going to bet so many hands that you have a lot of value in check raising out of the blind.
And if you have watched me play pretty strongly, I mean, I have a very, very high rate of post flop aggression. Usually, if you check to me and I'm in possession, I'm gonna bet. I don't want to give out too much information, but I'm sure you've noticed that about me.
Well, we've only
but you're the same way though, Rick. Too. I mean, I've never seen you really check behind somebody after coming in for a raise. On the flop.
Yeah, I tend to bet a lot.
Right.
Maybe I should take a few more free cards. Certain kind. I mean, obviously, you have 2 or 3 opponents on the flop. It's just miserable for your ace king, like 8, 9, 10.
Right.
8, 9, jack.
Of different colors that you have.
Yeah. Well, having that backdoor flush draw is big in limit poker. It doesn't help you much in no limit.
Right.
Chop it? I always chop.
I'm going to chop it.
This is how the 50-cent pieces get in the game. The bike takes a little less on no flop than other clubs.
Now, if they decide to check it down and they hit a jackpot,
so
they could do it.
Minimum we can.
They could do it. Actually, seat 9 just asked if they decided to check it down and they hit a jackpot. Of course, you can do that, and sometimes you'll hear players who are about to chop say, "Well, do you have a jackpot hand? We'll just check it down and see what's up." And
well, there might be a little difference between this game and the floor games, but the big thing is.
I had a jackpot hand, possible. But if he doesn't,
is you're supposed to play your hand strong. You don't want to, obviously, you don't want to expose your hand before the hand's over.
Right. Denny's been playing really well. I mean,
I think he wants to. I think he has something to prove.
I mean, like I said, he missed some bets. I'm critiquing his play,
well,
but it hasn't come back to.
He's getting massage when someone's getting a massage. Like when people are eating or they're getting a massage, they tend to tighten up.
We get an ace queen at the top pair. He's gonna. What's his name? Ira. He's gonna lead right out.
He's playing pretty aggressively. Saturday's his poker day. He comes here quite a bit. He used to be an Omaha player. I used to play an awful lot of 918 Omaha with him. And
boy, I'd love to play that game, Rick. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah,
and I'm always griping about how I'm trying to start a 2040 Omaha game there. You know, there's always the gap between, the only place that I even know that spreads the game at a high-low level between 612 and super high limits around tournaments is I think Bellagio has one 2040 game, and that's it for the whole country. We
had a gigantic discussion on 2+2 about 6 years ago, and what it comes down to is in the middle limits, Omaha high-low just attracts too many nits.
Well,
and as soon as you get word of a good game, get the word that the game is good, it seems like they nits converge from all over.
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to somebody at another card room about how I was trying to start a 2040 or 3060 Omaha game here, and they're like, well, if you did that, I'd move here from Vegas on a permanent basis,
Yeah, but that's what happens to the game.
Yeah.
It's a game that favors people who have an iron butt, and then eventually you have a table full of people with iron butts.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't even realize about Omaha that, even at the lower limits, if you're talking about percentage-wise, your 6-12 and your 3-6 Omaha high-low games are going to bring back if you know how to play Omaha well, and especially at those small limits, if you basically play very tight and draw for the nuts both ways, you're going to have your highest hourly out of any game. I don't care at any level, percentage-wise. I mean,
Well, yeah, relative to the size of the game.
Right.
I mean, I've kidded around about this. I said if there's one game I had to, I had to play 1,000 hours within a year at, let's say, 3-6 level. I had to beat it, or else I'd be fed, I think, feet first into head first, or no, I think it's worse, feet first into a wood chipper. That's the game I would play. I think I could beat that game, but I'd be probably bored to death. And
right.
I'm just not a big fan. I've played a lot of it, but I like Hold'em. I like high-low stud. No limit.
No 2 racks or.
I mean, I like to play a lot of Omaha high-low online, and I'll play 4 tables at a time. And sometimes I'm still bored. I'm watching TV.
Yeah, I managed to.
And then if I sit down here at a 6-12 game, it's like watching paint dry.
Yeah. Yeah, playing 8 tables online in an Omaha game, really did ruin it for me. But I love brick and mortar play for like No Limit and Hold'em. It's just there's so much.
Rick, I think we saw.
Online.
I think we might have seen a live straddle there for the first time all night tonight. And
not a bad play when the money's steep.
Yeah, I was going to say.
There was I responded to it last night. A couple other people did, and one of the top posters on 2+2, El Diablo, also did. I mean, a lot of top players who play deep and play well in the unrestricted buy-in games will live straddle it.
Well, we saw Raymer doing that. He bought into the table for 40,000. He was everyone was live straddling. The money was deep that whole night. So.
Well, his money was deep. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now look at it. Seat 4 has got 4-5. He's betting into a gut shot, straight draw, and Seat 8's going to give him action. So if he hits his gut shot straight draw, but it's a spade, it's not going to happen for him. But let's see. Maybe he put the guy on a flush.
He's willing to bet on his misses. He
does have a pair of 4s. The river card was a 4 diamonds. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't. It's not up. I'm looking at the graphic.
Sometimes you can look at the camera over here. Sometimes, yeah. And,
now is that graphic to the lower right being shown?
I don't think it is. No, it's not. So we have a thing. That's for us. We have a thing where we actually have a zoom-in camera on the board
Right.
where we can see it. But you're right. If it's not up on the graphic quick enough, then we only see what's.
So that window is not available
Right.
if I was at home.
Dead
straddle.
Okay.
Mississippi straddle. That would be right here. One off the button. You ever heard of that?
Rolling into our last half an hour here at Live at the Bite. $200 no limit buy-in restricted game. 3 and 5 blinds. Yellow chips are $5. Blue chips are $1.
Yeah.
Denny Williams, usually my commentator, is playing in seat 6 there. Rick every time. Nebbiolo is sitting in with me here. Ooh, a couple of hands there. Denny's got ace-queen offsuit. Seat 3's got ace-queen suited. Seat 4's got ace-jack suited. And seat 7's got pocket 10s. Oh, excuse me, ace-jack offsuit.
Eins, zwei, drei, vier.
And I don't even know if anybody brought this in for a raise yet here.
We got five-way action.
Five-way action. And somebody's just a $15 raise here, Denny. So.
It's a smallish raise.
Yeah.
And people.
Did I say Denny again? I'm sorry, Rick. Every time. Look at Denny. He's got ace-queen. Now, ace-king has got the nut flush draw. Let's see how he plays this, Rick. Ace-queen against the nut flush draw.
He comes out betting, I think.
Nut flush draw. You got, an overcard and the nut flush draw. Now what's Denny going to do? Yeah. Denny, I wouldn't flat call here. Man, I might want to pop it up a bit here. And I think Paul Rowe's going to go out with his pocket 10s. No, he just calls. Well, I don't. We can debate that, Rick.
I don't like that.
See if he gets burned here. Oh, the club. There's the club. And that's what we're talking about.
Check because I like it.
And he's going to check.
Check because I like it.
And he checks behind him. And now his question is, he going to be able to sucker Denny into? And another club comes up, and that kills the action of the ace-king. And that's what we talk about. Actually, Dave Tuckman and I talk about this a lot, about how we like to fast play hands. I don't even care if you have the nut flush, Rick, because if another club comes, it kills all of your action. If he had put maybe a small bet in there, he probably would have got a call or a raise from Denny. But instead, he had all his action killed.
Exactly. He just wanted a simple $75.
So, a lot of times when people say you have the nut flush, well, I slow play, but it's not. You're not slow playing in that. The reason why you don't slow play in that case is not because you're not going to get beat, but it's because a card can come that will kill your action totally. So you want to get it.
The object of no limit is much more to win money than it is to win. I mean, in any game it's to win money, but no limit is about winning money. And sometimes you're going to make a certain move that, okay, for this particular hand you don't make, but in the long run in similar situations, you're going to build a pot and create a situation where you can win a lot of money, and that's what you want to be working for in no limit. Like I say, we're all new to this.
Well, the problem there was actually, we both said we didn't like him flat calling there on the button with ace-queen. If he had put a big raise in, he most likely either would have got a re-raise all in by, of course we can't see the chip stacks, a re-raise all in if the guy was pretty short chipped with ace-king suited.
Yeah,
or a call.
He was deep.
Well, the question is, could you have bet enough to get him off of his draw? He did, had ace-king, the nut club draw, and then the club would have come there, and then he bet into Denny. What does Denny do there? So Denny might have lost less money that time. Just by happenstance, though,
Well, yeah, if Denny puts in sort of a natural raise.
Oh, look at Denny. He's got king, queen offsuit against pocket jacks.
Like $52.
Now he's got top pair here. And seat 1's been playing pretty solidly. Remember.
That doesn't mean he shouldn't bet.
Right. He's going to bet $20. And I want to see Denny raise this. I really don't want to see you flat call here, Denny. I just don't want you to. Rick, would you raise this here? Unless you were trying to make a trap call or something like that.
Well, how do you trap with king, queen? I mean, you're trapping yourself.
Well, maybe if you think the guy has like a pocket pair or something like that. Now the guy's,
We'll see one fire a second
Of course,
barrel.
we see Denny, making a lot of flat
I don't
calls.
think I fire a second.
So tough to put Denny on it, he could be on a flush draw. But if he's on a flush draw, the guy does have the jack of diamonds. You might not want to let a free card come out if you think he's on a flush draw. So it's a question of, but if he has the jack of diamonds, what could Denny have? Could he have ace-king of diamonds? We saw Denny re-raise with ace-king suited last time, and he didn't re-raise this time. So he worked backwards,
I'd bet about 2/3 of the pot.
No, he's going to bet
200?
He said 200.
200, and he splashes them in.
Denny.
This puts Denny in a tough spot.
That's why you like to raise there on the flop in front of get some information,
plus it stops the guy from firing the second barrel.
And now what do? You're going to flat call, and then you're going to flat call the guy. And the guy's almost pot committed. Where if Denny came over the top of him, he might call anyway.
This is where Denny's inexperienced. He has to.
And he's going to muck it.
He has to look ahead. I mean, you play weakly on the flop with sort of a hand that isn't that strong.
Right.
Now you're facing a problem in next betting round.
Right.
And I mean, we can see the cards. I'm trying to base it not on what I've seen, but the fact is that you get that medium strength hand. You have to make your move at some point early in the hand.
Right. If you're going to call out back with king queen offsuit for like a $20, $25 raise, now you flop the queen with no overcards. What I'm saying is, what more do you want, Rick? Right? You know.
You wonder why did you call in the first place if you're not willing to play the hand strongly when it comes top
especially
pair.
When you're in position.
Yeah, you have position. It's top pair. It's sort of a raggedy rainbow board. I mean, why play it if you can't play it right?
Right. So, strike number 4 for Denny.
Wow.
I mean, actually, that was the one hand where it's actually cost him money that he. I mean, the other thing is that can you put in a raise with ace queen against the ace king suited enough to knock him off the hand? If he went all in over the top, he might have been able to knock the ace king or made a big raise, and then he got outplayed on that hand there too, Rick. So we've seen a couple mistakes cost him money. Pocket queens. Now, seat 2 did not re-raise out of the big blind, I do not think. And that's very, very scary board with an overpair. Now, this is what we talk about when I say if you've got a limped pot with a big overpair and a flop like that comes,
you don't want to lose your money.
Right.
Here. I mean, you've kept the pot. You've made the decision to keep the pot
Now, look
small.
at Denny's got an open-ended straight draw with the 8.
Yeah.
And now a bunch of scare cards. A 6 or a jack is a huge scare card. An 8 is a scare card, you know. It's just crazy. And it's, well, I mean, the 7 might not necessarily be that much of a scare card, but someone could easily have been calling the bottom pair there, the way that some of these guys play.
I think 2 has to bet again.
The queens.
He's not that deep, so he doesn't have a lot to risk here.
But he should have put a raise in probably before the flop,
I mean,
right?
But
you know?
he's playing, I think he's going to push a little bigger.
He's only betting like 55.
Yeah. And what's he saving? He's only saving about $70. What's the point?
And the pot, I mean, Denny, well, again, now we're looking at him.
Bart's going to kill me for doing that.
Well, he's going to call, though, Denny, but the thing is the guy doesn't have that many more chips behind him, so he probably doesn't have odds to call now, right?
Yeah.
He's short chipped back there, right?
It's tough to do the calculations, but it's just...
Yeah, well,
Queen has to love that.
Oh,
Queen
yeah.
just has to love that. But the money.
But he checked it though, Rick. He checked it. Well, I mean that's another. Well, that's another question though, Rick. There, where if he bets, would he be called by a hand that beats him? You know what I mean?
I see the point, but look how few chips he has left. He should have put that money in on the turn.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to hold back $60 or $70 in this game.
Right.
When if you get raised, you cannot get away from it. You just put it in there.
236.
Denny had played ace-8 rag on that hand.
236 with
but
they were all in on the flop.
Don't like the queen's play there, Rick, and don't really like Denny's play either. Denny's lost, I think, maybe 100 or 150 of his mounting chip stack from a couple last hours. So we've seen him make 3 mistakes kind of in the last 15, 20 minutes that's cost him money. And has seat 2 picked up pocket queens again? Back to back? Yes, he has. Wow. Now the question is he going to play it better this time out of the big blind? Remember, he didn't re-raise last time out of the small blind.
He's facing, there's a small raise from seat 8.
Yeah.
That looks like it's a $15 raise. He should come.
It's like he re-raised.
He should make it about 60 or 70.
Can't quite tell how much he re-raised there.
Yeah.
Looks like it was only like a mini raise.
Yeah, it looks like he raised 30. And I would raise a little more than that.
I've had it happen. I've gotten back-to-back pairs. 3 hands in a row.
And he just told him that he's got back-to-back queens.
I stapled the eighth king.
Earlier I had pocket aces, I had ace king.
It's amazing how often people tell the truth in these games.
Well,
it's just
you
can't believe. My philosophy is I'm a talker, away from the table,
right.
On the table, at the table.
Rick, I've never even seen you showing your cards to anyone.
No,
really.
I don't believe in it.
I think the biggest faux pas Denny's made so far was that Jack versus King Queen hand. I gotta say, like I said, not raising there on the flop, not gaining any information, right?
$200 back already.
like I said, he's making the classic case that I always try to, pound into people's heads that a lot of times the best thing to do is either muck or raise, right? I mean, obviously depending on the situation, but obviously in that case, look, he's lost about $200 on the 600 that he had.
I do a little more cold calling than other people perhaps do who are considered half decent players, even in limit.
I understand.
He doesn't care.
But with position in the right kind of hands, cold calling isn't, and the right stack sizes, it's not as bad as maybe what some people believe.
But you wouldn't have cold called in that case, though.
No,
right?
No, probably not.
No.
I wasn't even going to 10.
Because of the light.
Well, I hope Denny comes back here before our broadcast is over. I would assume that he intends to. Yeah.
Paying for his massage.
I regret it, but I
was going to say, Rick, in 5 minutes, if he doesn't come back here, maybe you should go out and tell him to come back here.
Well, he's deep,
Actually,
he's got a chance.
Well, he can, sit out for like 15 minutes, right, and come back after the show. Now, King 10 suited left top pair here with a good kicker. And he quickly moves all in. And actually, there was another hand, Rick, that you'll see that you might have been privy to. And it was seat 5. And I don't know if he's still there. If it's the same. Yeah, seat 5. You can see him here. The viewers can't see him. But what had happened was that he flopped a set of 4s one time. And I think it was either Ira or someone behind him who had position on him.
Well, he would have position on Ira, wouldn't he?
Unless
it was the
Ira
was the button.
Yeah, it was either seat 4 or seat 3 had position on him. He flopped a set of 4s, and he bet in to the set of 4s. The guy, I think, raised him, and then he cold called, and then quickly moved all in on the turn. I think the guy had top pair. He had a set of 4s there, and he just moved all in the turn. And the guy had a top pair at the time on the flop, which was a 6, and then a jack and overcard came on the turn, and then he just moved all in. And I love the bet and then the cold call, but just moving right all in, like real quick, unless he was trying to be like, oh, I'm bluffing, I'm showing strength, I'm bluffing, But that had happened with that one. And he's gotten a little bit of criticism from me and from 2+2 about that hand.
Yeah, there was a play last night after this hand I'd like to go over.
He's got Queen 9, seat 3's got Queen 9.
Last tourney, I had a chip lead and I got second. Where were you?
What was the buy-in?
The $1 million guarantee was 600 plus 40. That wasn't what I was. There were 2,200 people in the tournament.
Seat 9 is calling with what, Rick? Rick, it's funny sometimes.
It's a funny call.
Rick, it's funny.
Unless he thinks he can knock off.
Rick, it's funny sometimes I look at up here and I'm like, we must have the cards up the wrong way. And then I look down and I'm like, no, we don't. It's happened to me time and time again because I don't understand the moves sometimes.
Yeah, you can see these whole card cams a little better than I can.
Well, she just flashed the whole card camera up for all the viewers too, so. Or Isaac did, rather. I'm sorry, Isaac. He.
I don't have the courage to pull the trigger.
So again, I mean, what I'm thinking, Rick, there was it was a cold call with the intention of hopefully getting a check on the flop with overcards and then betting. I mean, that's the only thing he could have been doing, right? Cold calling there.
But C3 is not a guy you knock off hands that easy.
I'm actually learning a lot about T9. Like I said, I played with him, and he seemed like a tight player at 2040, but he has made so many questionable moves tonight that some of the moves are just.
I haven't played with him much at 2040. I played with him in the no limit, but not in the 2040.
Yeah.
I play a lot of the short-handed no limit.
I just, he's made moves on seat 1, got picked off a bunch of times. He just made that weird, strange play there, and I'm wondering what that was too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's boring, but are you in there for the action?
Now it looks like Denny's got pocket 7. Pocket 7. He's gonna win.
This game's nice. You can most of the time you'll be able to see the flop for a reasonable price after limp.
Now seat 9's got king queen suited there, Rick. I like kind of that raise.
It's a raise, sure. High card.
Question is now, does he have enough money for Denny to call the raise? Probably not, right? Unless you think that Denny can outplay. 7s is a medium pocket pair, so for raggy flop comes, he still might have the best hand. The question is, can he put his money in with the best hand?
He's getting calls in 2 spots.
Yeah. So he's facing 3 overcards here.
Yeah, he's looking more for a set.
Ooh, he's got the set. Now the problem is again that no one really has much where he's going to give action. Now he checks it though, Rick. Ooh, and he gets checked around.
That's not such a That's not a terrible check.
And now the
because
3 of
high
clubs
cards are
comes.
7.
We know that they all have a bunch of cards, and it's just tough. No one has anything to call. So he did bleed out before, and it's just unfortunate circumstance where no one has much.
I would have, without even if I had obviously seen the cards, I would tend to lead out of the bluff. With that, boy, you limp up front. You have a jack. That's the kind of hand they can put you on with a pre-flop limp.
Yeah.
You know, why not come out betting there? Okay, so a lot of, in this case, he probably would have got no action.
Right.
But on the grand scheme of things against his opponents, he's often going to run into a hand that's going to give him action. That's the whole point.
They're only on for another 10 minutes.
I think Denny says he's gonna come back here. It sounded like. I don't think he's taking the blind here.
See how bad they've been dogging me.
Only a little, not that bad, Denny.
It's been a pleasure playing with you.
Yeah, he's going to come back.
Danny, make sure when you do the call, you let him know how Ira made a great comeback. That Ira made a
So let's see
great
Denny's chip stack. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 430, 450. So he's up like 460, 465, something like that. Not bad.
He has chirping chips, as we call them.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 50, maybe 7 or 8 in blues.
Nice little win.
Again, I mean, he did get kind of missed some plays there at the end. He was up 600.
I'm on the button, right?
Yes.
The button, no, don't take this.
And Rick, when Denny comes back here, you know, we do have a third mic here, so you can stay in. We have the ability. He can just use the mic, and you can dog him a little bit too.
I'm actually pretty burnt. I came in.
If you imagine doing this 4 hours,
this is what
you know,
it's been about the hardest day I've worked in a long time. It's just a lot happened today. It went smooth, but it was just
I tell people
running around. And,
I tell people this is kind of like a baseball game where, you know, sometimes there's action, sometimes there isn't. But in a baseball game, you have half innings, 90-second breaks. You know, this we've gone on for 4 hours.
This is actually a lot harder to follow than when you're in the game. I mean, it's just you're bombarded
so
with
many
too
things,
much
right?
information.
Yeah.
You're probably a little more used to it than I am.
Yeah, it takes a while. And pocket 8s looks like it's got the best hand here. And then pocket 6s in seat 5 and pocket 3s in seat 9. Now 9 is going to lead with pocket 3s. Now 8s, you would say, has the top pair, right, Rick, here? I mean, he's got an overpair to the 7.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't like being, he doesn't like it when he's let into.
Right. And he mucked. So
especially with all
he shows 1-3. He shows 1-3, Rick.
That's a good move, though.
I know you'd probably be shaking your head at that show.
I just feel I'm not clever enough to show cards. People like a Daniel Negreanu. I mean, I keep watching these things on TV, and you're up against Daniel Negreanu, and you talk to him. I mean, the guy is like an expert on the psychology. I'm always amazed that these amateurs were willing to engage in conversation when they're in a hand. It just blows me away.
Oh, because he's just having a conversation, trying to get like reads off him.
Negreanu's going to be able to, a guy like that's going to be able to read you. Just,
right.
You know, you recognize you're outmatched there. Just keep your mouth shut.
Exactly, right.
This is the low rent district.
Deal me in next.
That's a good seat.
And you can kill this hand.
So. The guy left, you win.
I like making that with a pair of 3s, and he's acting first, leading into that king 7. It's going to win it share small pots, and you can get away from raises.
For instance, here, Rick, I'm looking at seat 8 here. He's got ace deuce offsuit, and he limps in from early position.
Right here. Okay.
Right. You know, it's just.
No, that's not my play.
Yeah. Now king 8's got the top pair. Seat 6, it says it's Denny, but it's not quite Denny anymore. It's a new player.
Okay, you're right.
13, you said? 15. 13? Yeah. You did mention 13.
Oh, and look at that. Evelyn quickly comes to the rescue. Places it with.
Seat 6, I don't recognize.
No, I don't either. And is Paul Rowe still in the game there? We haven't seen much from him at all.
He's sort of out of camera range.
Yeah, he is. He's really. And here's Denny in the booth.
Yeah.
How you doing, Denny?
We didn't give you too hard a time. Oh, I did think the Diet Coke with the cheeseburger was sort of funny, you know.
So do you want to pick up the mic, or do you want to whatever you want to do, man? Do you want to stay in for it? It's only another 10 minutes, Rick.
Another 10 minutes?
Yeah,
okay, if it's only another 10 minutes, I'll stay.
So
that's all. Finish it up.
I think you got to stand over here, Denny. Yeah, there we go.
All right, so how did I do?
Well, Denny, I mean, obviously, there we go. Don't do much movement because we get interference. But yeah, it's I think you did well. And obviously, you built your chip stack up to about $600. You're gonna hate. You got outplayed a couple of times, and the biggest thing that I'm going to tell you about the hand that you misplayed, the biggest was the king queen. Now you call the raise. I forget I'll tell you what the guy had, but you called the raise. I think he brought it in for 20 or 25, right? The guy from seat 1.
Oh, that's right. When I flopped
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then he raised it to He raised it to 200.
Right. Now he flopped top here. Your problem there was you flat called on the flop. He bets into you, like 30 or 40, and you just called him. You should have raised and found some information out. I'm going to tell you what he had. He had pocket jacks. You had him.
Okay.
And your problem was that you just called on the flop, and then you
Remember I talked about playing my gut?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious here.
Yeah.
My gut told me to play that hand. That's why I called. The only reason I folded is because we were live at the bike. I didn't want to embarrass myself if I was wrong. But my gut told me to play that hand all the way.
Yeah.
I almost called that $200 bet.
Well, I think the issue was that...
I don't know if you heard me tell him a few minutes later, if we hadn't been on the internet, on TV, I would have probably called you. That's what I told him. I don't know if you picked that up.
It's hard to call the 200 bet on the follow through, but
on the flop.
Yeah, in other words, the time to put in some money is on the flop, and that would have prevented him from firing a second barrel at you.
The 5 on the turn was meant to rattle you up a little bit.
Basically, you know what it is? It was just the fact that the mistake you made, I'm not saying it was a bad laydown, was flat calling on the flop. You had called the raise. Now you flop top pair with a good kicker. You should have jacked it up on the flop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You would have won. And I don't know why exactly did you call? You just weren't thinking.
Right. I don't know.
And you were pretty deep right then. So you're scary, to your opponents. They know they potentially could lose. He was deep. He's going to potentially lose $400, $500. So
yeah.
Well, I'm going to go out there and kick his ass now.
But
the other thing too, I have a criticism of was the guy who raised you, and you had pocket tens. You remember that hand? With pocket tens,
I remember pocket tens, but I don't remember the hand.
He raised you on the cutoff, and you had the button. You probably should have re-raised on the flop. And then the flop was all raggedy. He bet into you again, and then you called again on the flop. You should have raised it up on the flop too, But you ended up winning the pot. But the other thing, there was one other hand too.
I played scared a few hands.
A little bit. The other hand too is that you had ace queen, and you flopped a queen with 2 clubs out there. This guy bet into you, and again you just flat called. Then the jack of clubs came, and he checked you, and you checked behind him. Then he bet when a 4th club came on the river, and it killed all his action, and you mucked. He had ace king of clubs that hand.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, if you had raised him a lot or all in, could have got him off that hand on the flop. But you just called there again.
Well,
you got a lucky card.
Actually, though, I think a normal raise that Denny might have made there he probably would have lost his entire stack, depending on how deep he was. I think sometimes if you play a hand, let's say, what most people would agree would be more correctly, you're going to end up losing.
Right. That's what we said.
Under
you actually ended up saving a lot of money because that 4th club came, and you're like,
right.
And we talked about, Dave and I have told you about how a lot of times people like to slow play nut flush draws, which is what the guy did to you, but you checked right behind him. And the thing was that because he didn't put a bet in, the 4th club came and it killed all his action. You can't call any bet. You don't have a club. You know what I mean? So
it's a lot. It was a lot of fun to sit down and play there, and we talk about archiving these and maybe doing a pay-per-view down the road. I would go home and I would pay the pay-per-view if it was a reasonable fee just to watch how they played against me, how I played against them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
just for entertainment value.
Right.
I would do that.
There's always that issue, and people in LA have the opportunity to do that. With the people in Germany and the Netherlands watching this, I don't know, but yeah, of course, it's great entertainment value. Deuce 3 Jack, you get an open-ended straight draw for seat 1.
How's the game overall? Was it more of the tight side? Seat 2 seemed to be like he was a little loose. He was going through quite a bit of money, or he just have a lot of bad luck.
C2 made some questionable plays. The biggest thing that stands out in my mind, Denny, was that. Look at this 6-7. Oh, excuse me. I thought 6-7 had the nut straight there. But see what I mean, Rick? It's like so many cards here, and we're trying to figure out what everybody has.
Look, I get out of the game. You got 6-way.
Yeah. Someone's got a diamond draw, seat 6, and I'm trying to figure the best hand. Pair of threes. For seat 8 with a gut shot with an open-ended straight draw.
No diamond draws.
And seat.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Seat 1 has the best hand wearing with
4-5.
4-5. Open-ended with the top pair.
Open-ended.
Yeah.
Did you dog me when I called with that open-end straight draw? I called $50.
Well,
seat 1 bet.
Oh,
I knew you were going to dog. In fact, I said it, and I said you guys go dog me because all I had was an open-end draw.
Actually, you know the funny thing about that hand though, Denny, was that it wasn't seat 1 bet. Look at this.
Wasn't seat 1?
No, it was seat 2. And
Oh,
seat
that's
2
right, okay.
played that hand so
That's right,
poorly.
yeah.
You know what seat 2 had?
No.
He didn't raise out of the big blind. He had pocket queens. And he let, there were 5 limpers in the pot. And his queens held up on that raggedy flop.
Oh,
I don't have a problem with you calling once there. Because I don't know how deep the guy's stack was. Rick was talking about that. You were open-ended. But the guy played it really, really badly.
Yeah,
And
he only bet $50. So I said, what the hell?
I mean, it could have a bunch of scare cards could have come.
Yeah, but that
You
he
know.
had the stack that wasn't that deep, so there wasn't a lot of money to
Right.
be made.
And basically what Rick was talking about is he kind of short jabbed you on the turn. He made more money, but he could have pushed all in on the turn to get you off your draw. Instead, he only bet not that much of a stack. And
$50.
Right,
I
you
remember I
called.
called $50.
Right. You didn't really have odds to call
Yeah,
just on the...
because you don't have enough money to win there.
Right.
If you-
But still, it's a very stupid bet by him, though, also.
Yeah,
you know?
well, it's no limiting Los
Right.
Angeles. What are you going to say?
Get 20.
The games are great here.
Yep.
Well, anyway, I ended up winning a couple $100.
Yeah, $250, $260.
So it's not bad.
Overall, a pretty good performance. There was one time, though, Denny, too, when you...
the production staff won some of this. I didn't see them offer to buy me in. But
There was one time, too, Denny, when you had an ace deuce from the button, and there was an ace, and there was 6-way action, and you checked it from up back. Do you remember that?
I'm afraid of an ace deuce.
Yeah, but everyone checked you with the ace, man. You gotta put in some type of bet.
I think Ira's going to come out firing here.
Well, that's not Ira anymore. Seat 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Oh, I thought it looked like... Yeah.
We got to say hi to his grandson, Jackson, who's fast asleep by now, I'm sure.
King 10 has an open-ended straight draw. Okay. And we're getting word here from our producer, Evelyn, that this is going to be the last hand. I've had fun with you guys. Tonight, thank you, Rick Nebbiolo, look at that, for coming in and doing some announcing with me. And Denny, it was great to see you play, and you did a pretty good job.
Thanks, I had fun. Yeah. It was fun. How about 2+2? Did they beat me up at all? Or?
Well, not really. I mean, we're a little bit behind here, but it didn't see a lot of jabbing comments at you. So
well, I see. I'm looking at the monitor here. At least on this screen, there are 16 pages. You may not be set up the same way. I'm logged into this, so I probably get more posts per page. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to look at all these tonight. I'm pretty tired.
I heard they were sending pictures of people that
looked like you. Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Rick, you have to send me this thread or tell me how to get to it.
Yeah, just.
Denny, you should register and post something up there too yourself.
I should. What is it? Just
it's
2plus2.com?
And they have 30 forums now, but the one that's the Live at Bike is tending to go on the what they call the World Poker Tour and TV poker. And someone's starting an official Live at Bike with the date every day.
And I haven't seen anybody in that big poker room that I play online. Again, my username is live@BKBart. So I haven't seen anybody come into any of my rooms yet and say anything, but I'm still looking for all you guys.
Who wants to come into your room? It's probably a mess.
Live at BKBart. So let's see here. $30 bet from seat 6. He doesn't have anything. He's got 4-5.
He's playing like I was, huh?
And seat 8 has got the jack, and he's just going to call.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, see, it spills over to the right side there if you have too many cards. So. Blank comes and see 4-5 shuts down here. That's not enough. Oh, again, Rick, we talk about chip stacks. He just doesn't have enough to bluff them out, right? I was going to say if they were both 10,000 in and he bet 5,000 on the river there, it would have been a little bit difficult for Jack 9 to call there. But
hey, I think that's another wrap for tonight.
Absolutely.
Live at the Bike. Right. We'll be back Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Rick, thanks.
Okay,
Bart, thank you. I'm Denny Williams. Good night, everybody.
We're on the honor system. Just tell us what you have. You don't have to show it.
didn't see it. I just thought I heard him say I had a jack. I
have pocket aces. I like that system.
You could be the 9 high.
I got it.
I like
Okay, hearts and diamonds.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.